Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamers Lounge podcast. My name is John Mills. With me as always is Eric, Nathaniel, Dennis, Robert. Everybody's here. It's why am I smacking my hands together? Why I say it? I don't know.
You're doing that full house smack.
Daddy, no, don't hurt me.
What we have to do is lower taxes on the...
We have to slap our hands to make annoying noises for the podcast.
I guess.
listeners.
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm slapping my hands, but I just started slapping my hands all of a sudden, so whatever.
This is no longer a fun podcast.
No, it's just
Serious business.
Yeah, it's all serious. But oh no, it's been like a month since we recorded. So I noticed when I was writing notes yesterday. I was like, when was the last episode? Oh yeah, it was the 1st of October. Yeah, and now it's the 4th of November, 5th of November. So yeah, so that was my fault. Sorry.
Nothing happened anyway.
No, nothing happened anyway. There was nothing clearly, because when it came to writing notes, it's like, I don't even remember what happened before last week. Even looking, it's like, I'm not going to get digging. So,
Bunch of small news things that disappear from memory after you get a week or two past them. You're like, wait, what was that again?
yeah. It's like, I try to go when that's really the one thing I use Twitter for, is for news. It's like, oh, if it's something interesting, I'll favorite and then go back through my feed and look for it, for show notes. And apparently I just wasn't much on Twitter that week while we were going, because I really didn't favor anything that I thought was newsworthy. So
I mean, it was all just like little additions to stories we've already talked about at length. So yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it happens. We're rolling in on the holidays, so it's pretty much going to turn into slow news and then games. Till January. No, even after that, there's still games, because everything got pushed back to January and February. So
yeah, January, February, March, all are going to be busy unless they get pushed again.
I'm sure they will. As sure as I'm sitting here, something will get pushed. It always does. So. Well, we'll start off with what we've been playing, like we always do. It looks like I've played a lot, but I really haven't. It's like, I bought this game.
Played a little bit of a lot.
Yeah, I've played a little bit of a few games. It's like, so I bought the monthly Hummel choice, and because it had Deathloop in it for PC. So I thought, well, that'd be a cool one to try on the Steam Deck. So I downloaded it, put it on Steam Deck, played it for a little while. It's really good on the Steam Deck. Runs about 45 frames per second, which isn't bad. I mean, I'd prefer 60, but on a small screen like that, 30 to 40 is not bad as long as it's stable.
I mean, even then, I mean, that's still like crazy that it's capable of doing that, because Deathloop is like pretty crazy, like just in terms of like, not only graphically, but I mean, with everything going on, it's pretty detailed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Medium settings. It looks good. It runs nice. I played the first level, I think, just to try it out. I was like, yep, I'll go back and play that on the Steam Deck. Persona 5 Royale, I picked it up on the Steam Deck, even though it was on Game Pass. It's like, it's one I really wanted to play on the Steam Deck and be able to take it with me. That thing, high quality, high settings, 60 frames per second, never wavers from it. I swear, I think that game could do 120 if they would unlock the frame rate on it.
Well, it better not, because that game came out in like 2017.
Yeah, I mean, it is unbelievable how good it looks, how well it runs, and I was blown away by the...
Knowing how that game is, that doesn't surprise me, because it's not... I don't know, it's very stylish, but it's not like pumping out tons and tons of like polygons and things that would slow it down. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That runs well.
It's one of those games that like, it's super detailed, but one of the reasons why it's so optimized is because everything is so segmented. Like, even though the game is deep and you have such a large portion of Japan that you can explore, it's... If you're in a building, you're in a building. If you're in a dungeon, you're in a dungeon. And then, like, usually if you're in an alley, you are specifically in that alley. It's not an open world game,
right?
Like that, So, but yeah.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised how just sharp it looked for not an OLED screen. It's like, but it runs and plays pretty good. Again, just played the beginning of it. It's like, yep, I'm going to play it eventually. But it's like, it's a 100-hour RPG. Do I really want to get into it a week before we go to Disney? Probably not. I'll wait on that one till we get back.
Just boot it up and listen to the menu music.
Yeah, and that's
just play it in line at Disney.
Well, now I mean, I can get the soundtrack. I think it's on Amazon Music. It's like it actually recommended. I just shuffle songs sometimes while I'm driving if I don't have a book to listen to, and it was like, hey, I know that song. What's it? Oh wow, that's the opening. Like, that was weird. How did it know that I bought that game the other day? That's so strange.
You never saw it coming,
no. I bought Spider-Man on PC. It was on sale for like $30. And what I've been doing here recently is, if at the end of the month, if there's nothing I'm buying at GameStop that I'm going to use my $5 card on, I just buy a $20 Steam card, throw it on my account for $15, and then just leave it set there. And then they had the Halloween sale the other day, and I bought like Spider-Man. I bought Disco Elysium. There was a couple other like super cheap games that were like $5 I bought. I was like, oh, I'll play that sometime. But Spider-Man I really wanted to see run on the Steam Deck too, because I heard it ran really well because it was verified. And yeah, I don't want to play, even though I'm almost done with it on PlayStation 5, I'm starting it over on PC because I'd rather play it there, because I can play it on PC, cloud save it, play it on my Steam Deck, play it on, and then come home, cloud save it, play it on my PC. There's no save between PC and PlayStation. So
I thought I read something this past week, or heard something this past week about them linking Spider-Man specifically.
Oh, it's just linking your PSN account. It has nothing to do with the saves.
It has nothing to do with saves.
Nope. Nope. All it is like syncing, like, I think if you go on like my PlayStation account, you can see where I'm playing it on PC to get trophies.
So it's just to be able to see your friends list, or can you like still get your trophies?
You can get your trophies. That's all it is. It's just your trophies. That's all it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the no save, cross save thing, which kind of stinks. That's the one thing I do like about the Microsoft games, is everything goes to the cloud, whether I play it on PC or play it on streaming or play it on whatever, and then it'll just sync up. Yeah, I do like that. So, but
huge fan.
Yeah,
I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, it's just too bad it doesn't do it on Spider-Man. But yeah, that game, most of the time it runs a solid 30 frames a second on Steam Deck. It will. I've kind of toyed with it enough I can get it up to about 40 frames a second if I really want it to, and it runs pretty well. Just did the first part with Kingpin. Did the whole boss battle, and it was flawless. Never dropped below 30 frames a second.
Knocked over my mic.
Oh, rookie mistake.
I don't have it on an arm. I'm not fancy.
Oh, well, this arm costs $5. You could get this arm for $5 on Amazon.
Okay, I lied. I do have an arm that I think I got for $5, and it just did not work with my desk. It's sitting in a box.
Yeah, mine's always been in a box because my desk was not compatible with it.
The only mine's an IKEA desk. It's compatible with everything. So because it's just flat. It's just square. So. Yeah. But no. I wish Sony would have game save shares between PlayStation and PC. That would be awesome. But
that'd be great. I mean, honestly, because that's one of the reasons why. Because I see Days Gone go for so often, and I liked that game enough that I'm willing to play it again. However, when I say play it again, I don't mean play it over.
Right.
Because I don't. That was like a 60-hour that I do not want to go through.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Again. Yeah, and even though it was a fantastic game, that game they could have cut. I still maintain that game could have been 30 hours long and accomplished the same thing, because because there was just so much extra nonsense in terms of filler, and I'm not even talking about the side stuff. I'm just talking about if you were just straight shooting through the story. There's just so much of it where it's you could have taken off half of this, and you would have accomplished the same thing. So. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, cross saves would be great for that, because I would love to go and just explore the world and just get the collectibles and maybe potentially go for the platinum and stuff like that. So yeah.
I'm in a weird place with that game. I've wanted to play it since it came out, and then I never got around to it. And they announced the studios went under, and they're not making a sequel. So at this point, I'm just like, even though I have it for free now through whatever PlayStation Plus tier I got it from, I don't have a reason to play it. I'm like, I don't want to play it and love it and then be even more bummed that a sequel's not coming. So I'm just kind of like, I guess you lost your chance.
I guess. I don't know. I'd play it anyway, regardless of whether it was going to get a sequel or not. I don't think it ended on a cliffhanger or anything anyway. So
no,
I mean,
no, it didn't. No, they can definitely explore that world more, but honestly, it's something that I don't really think needs a sequel unless it's absolutely necessary. And right now, I can't find a good reason for it to be absolutely necessary. But
Well, that's good. So it does live on its own. The
yes,
story,
yes, very much,
it
very much.
closes that door well.
Yeah, thank God,
Cool.
because a lot of games lately don't, and then having that lack of a promise of a sequel, because that's all dependent on whether the game does well or not. I think you can have the prospect of a sequel, but I think you shouldn't be reliant on a sequel. Whenever you're making a new property. So.
Yeah, that's one of those games I've got it downloaded in my PlayStation 5 because it was free when it has those, PlayStation Essentials that you got free when you bought the PlayStation.
I think that's probably where I got it. Yeah.
And I've been curious to play it.
I'll tell you what, that game, I'm not really the biggest fan of zombies just because, not because I don't necessarily like zombies, but I think there's an oversaturation of them.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of them ultimately are the same. So which is why I don't like the genre, not because it's not appealing to me, but it's because of the quality of it. Right, and it's all the same to me. So, but Days Gone is one of those few ones where I'm like, man, this game was like fantastic through and through. There's really nothing like it. And yeah, it's unique, and I mean, if you can find the time and you're in a zombie mode, dude, like that, it should be your next sort of priority in terms of like zombie content. I think Days Gone for sure.
Yeah.
I'll re-download it. God of War coming out. I'm probably not going to touch it for a little while. Probably not even to the new year at this point. But I will get to it. I like Sam Witwer as an actor, as a voice actor. So yeah, I definitely want to play it.
Yeah. The one that I actually played a little bit more than just a few minutes of was at Asterigos, I guess is how you say it, Dennis. Is that how you say it?
Asterigos, yeah.
Asterigos.
For sure.
So, what's funny is they sent us a review code. I gave it to Dennis, and then another one of those tiny build. Here's another code. Here's a code for you. It's like, oh, well, thanks. I'll just download it and play it and see what it's like. Because Dennis played it on the Xbox, I think, and this one was on PC.
Yep.
I mean, so far, I really like that game. It is really, really good. It's, I don't want to say it's like God of War, but it's kind of like, it's a mix of a lot of games. It's
definitely a mix.
But the storytelling is really good in it. The graphics is really good. I played it for a couple of hours on the Steam Deck, and I know me and Dennis talked private messaging wise. When I played the demo of it, it was like I couldn't get the frame rate to settle in a good place on the Steam Deck, but then when the full review or when the full game came out, I was like, I don't know if they had updated it or what, but it runs. I can get it running 60 frames a second sometimes in some places. So it's fun. Like I said, I really haven't played a ton of it, just a couple hours. I think I finally made it to the city that you were trying to get to in the prologue or whatever.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so
I thought about buying that game and did end up not getting it just because I think I looked at a couple of videos or whatever and was not impressed with the lighting. There's like no atmosphere, at least how it looked like in videos. It's like the models and stuff look fine for kind of like a AA game or whatever you'd classify it as, I guess, but it doesn't have anything else to give it atmosphere, so it looks old because of that, at least to me. So maybe it looks better as the game probably does. It's just from the videos, that's what kind of turned me off. Like, well, I don't really need another game right now, so I'll have it still on my wish list for the future.
Oh yeah, and it'll be on sale at some point.
Oh,
Black Friday's coming up, and I was gonna say, Thanksgiving sale's coming up, and then Christmas after that, or whatever. So it'll probably be on sale, but. Honestly, what I've been playing the most of, and that was because I was, sitting in a hospital for most of it, was Marvel Snap. Just happened to come out. You know what? That game, I'm not much on a card battler game.
Card battler.
Yeah, it's a card battler. It's by the guy that did Hearthstone.
Okay.
And you have a deck of 10. and you play 6 rounds, and essentially what you're just trying to do is you're trying to control 2 out of the 3 zones that you have, and some of the zones will have different things. Like it may be you play a card here, you get 2+ power. Over at this one, it may be like, oh, they add 2 raptors or 2 of this, or doubles your card, the first card you put in there, or something like that. And you're just trying to build a deck that in some way can, paper, rock, scissors another another deck. It's quick, it's fast. I mean, matches last like 2 minutes at the most. It's just bam in, bam in, bam in, bam in. And you just, the dopamine hit is pretty good at the beginning. You're constantly leveling up, you're constantly getting cards, you're constantly doing all that. But then you
tapers off.
Well, you get to a point where you get to a point where it kind of plateaus. I mean, at first it's like, I want to say the first so many levels you get a new card every other level, and then it goes to every 4 levels, and then it goes to every 8 levels, and then it goes to every 12 levels.
It's kind of different.
And and then you're playing. Sometimes when you start out at first, you're playing bots. So, or real people, you don't know which one you're playing. You can kind of tell because it's like, well, that was a really dumb card. Why did you play that card there?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but I think it's good because you're not, especially if you're getting in a rut where you're just getting your butt whipped over and over and over again. Then you play a bot or two and it's like, oh yeah, I'm winning. Because I mean, honestly, the first couple of days I was winning more than I was losing. And then I've gotten to a plateau where it's like, yeah, now it's like, ooh, I'm barely winning. Oh, I lost that one. And the way the levels are is the way you gain levels, you have, I don't know if they're cubes or what they are. They look like little shiny things at the top. And if you think you're going to win, you could snap and bet more of them. So it turns into almost like poker is what it turns into. And you can get up to 8. But the thing is, if you lose that hand, you lose 8 of those. So you can actually go down levels. So if you lose too many of them in a row, you start going backwards. But yeah, it's really good. The only thing I've spent money on, they had a welcome pack with Captain America for like $3, and then they had a season pass for $10. And honestly, for what you get in the game and for the season pass and stuff, $10 is nothing. I know there's some people that spent like $100 on the game because they're buying gold, they're buying this and that to try to unlock more cards and stuff. But yeah, if you like card battlers, try it out. It is really fun. They're eventually adding where you can have friends list and you can battle each other, which is pretty cool. I don't know when that's coming. But yeah, it's a good time because you can level up your cards, and when you level them up, it's like, it's nothing. The stats don't change. It's just like things change. Like it may be turn into a rare card where it looks 3D, and then the next one is, I don't know, shiny or something like that. But it's not a card battler where you're buying decks or buying card packs and opening them up like Hearthstone was. Nothing like that. Which honestly is nice. I like that a lot. It has the tropes that you could get into with money grabbing, but honestly, you don't have to spend a dime on the game and you'll still progress. The only reason,
that's nice.
Yeah, the only reason I bought the season pass was because it was like, oh, I could get this Carnage card, this Miles Morales card, I can get them all right off the bat, and I don't have to earn them. That was really
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Yep.
But again, like I say, I don't mind spending $10 on it. I played it a lot. I think my collector level is like 140 or something like that, and I've not played it at all this week. I just did that all in the first week. But I like it because it's not like Hearthstone where, oh my gosh, it would take 45 minutes to do a battle and it was just long and drawn out. This was just easy peasy. Get in. Up, I lost. Go the next one. Up, I won. Go the next one. Up, I lost. Up, oh yeah. All I gotta say is if you play me, my last card I'm gonna play is the Hulk because it's worth 12 points. So you better have You better have some big points somewhere, because that's how usually I win. It looks like I'm losing. Oh, he's only got one, but I've got two. Bam, Hulk, boom, it's over.
Well,
I win. Thanks.
I did this crazy combo.
Now we know the secret.
Yeah.
I did this crazy combo the other day with Starfire, I think, where like, because I think it's Starfire, where like if you place her in the middle, she gets like +2 power, or something like that.
Something like that.
But the middle land, if you want to call it that, it's like a magic term. But the middle land or whatever, was like any card that goes in here, is multiplied. You get an additional one of that card each turn.
Yeah.
So, and with every time the Starfire was put down, so she'd be put down and she was 2, then she would go to 4, but then it would replicate itself on the next turn, so then she'd be 4, but of course she got put down in the middle again, so that'd be +2, so it would literally go 4, 6, 8, and 10, and then I just dominated that middle space.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Sounds like I might play it. It kind of reminds me of like the animation domination game or animation throwdown they had on which has like King of the Hill characters, Bob's Burgers. It sounds similar to
I know
that.
I remember. I never played it, but I do remember.
That was interesting. You could combine cards and like mix them together, and combining cards with certain other things would give them bumps, and you could use them depending where you use them and stuff. It was really interesting. I played that for a while.
Yeah.
I think I put a couple bucks into it. Like I like mobile games. I'm willing to give them a shot as long as they are entertaining and there's something you keep coming back to instead of
predatory, man. Because like
here comes the paywall.
Yeah. and that's what I like about Marvel Snap. It's really not, because when it was in beta, they tried to do that, and everybody went, no, we don't want that, and the devs listened. They cut it back, and they went back to the other way, and then it's been that way ever since. As I played a little bit of it in the beta on my Android, but
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I used to really like the Walking Dead game a lot that was on phones. I forget. It's like base building, and I probably spent like $20 or $30 on that, and I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. So
cash grab.
So what collection level are you, Dennis? Do you know off the top of your head, or?
I'm just I'm. Okay, is it the little green?
Yeah, it's the green one.
Green thing.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm only 21.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Let me open mine up. I haven't looked at it in a couple days, because I literally haven't.
Honestly, I got bored of it, because I mean, it was like what John said, where like
he's got other games to play. Hello.
Well,
you play Snap while you play other games.
So
really. I don't need to see that.
So I'm at season pass level I'm 14, but collection level I'm 162, and then down in the symbiote invasion ranked I'm like 21. So
okay.
But my thing is what I found out, what I really found out, and I wasn't doing it at first, I was just playing. It's like, you really want to, if you want to advance really fast, and pay attention to the season pass stuff. If it says, if one of the goals to unlock things is play 3 power cards 4 times in a row or something like that, do it. Then you come back and you get 1,000 points. I wasn't even paying attention to any of that. I was just playing, and it was like, man, why have I not completed this season yet? I was really climbing, and then all of a sudden I did. I'm like, oh, well, I wasn't going through all these daily goals that I have, because there is a crap ton load of them if you really want to, do it. And it was like, so I just sat in the hotel room going, okay, I escaped twice. Oh, I did this. Oh, yep, well, I finished that season. Let's go on to the new season. Oh, yep, keep going. It's like, but yeah, when you're sitting in a hotel room too, it's just like, okay, I can play 20 games of this. Well, before I go to bed, it's no big deal. All right, so, but I really like it. I haven't had time to play it this week, even though they're short little games. I have not had time to play it this week, so it's like, I'll probably play it here while everybody's talking about their games now. They got it pulled up. So it's like,
that's how you do it.
So yeah,
it's not the main activity; it's the sub activity.
The news section. Hey John, what do you think about this? Hang on.
Yeah, I mean, see, like this one, you got to, if you move your cards 10 times. So Nightcrawler is the first one you play, and you can move him. So it's like, oh well, I can just move him, and 2 matches later, I've moved him 10 times, and I got those points. I mean, it's dumb stuff like that. that makes it really move fast. But you do, after you get so far, you do kind of get to a level. It's like, man, it's a drought before I get a new card. It's going to take me a long time to get that dopamine kind of gets a little slower for a little while. But we'll see when this season ends. It ends in a couple weeks, and another season will start, because I think they're going to do seasons every month. So, see how that goes. But Dennis, you want to go next? Tell us what you've been playing.
Yeah, let me get my. So basically, I mean, the last podcast that we had, I was playing a little bit of Advanced Warfare, and and I think I had mentioned, like, I just kind of wanted to revisit some of the older, Call of Duties, just to play through the campaigns, just because I like them so much. But yeah, it basically just been I played through Ghosts, and I beat the campaign, which is what I planned on doing, and I coming off of Advanced Warfare, that game was not very good, like, at all. Like Ghosts, like Advanced Warfare, I really liked, actually, but Ghosts was just like Ghosts. I couldn't tell you what the hell happened was in that game. It was just like level after level of just like, we're going this way, so
yeah, that's all I remember of that. And then at the end of it, I was like by myself for something. I don't even remember what it was now. It's like, it was weird.
I just remember how buggy Ghost was when it first came out. It was like, really buggy? At least on the PS4 when they launched, because that was another cross-gen one, I believe.
Yeah.
And all I remember about that game is getting to this one section with the dog, and I was running down this ramp or something, and then the dog just got stuck and was just like over and over again. And I'm like, oh, all right, Well, and that was it. That was the last time I played it.
Well, once I started like playing too, I was like, oh, that's right, this is the one with the dog, because I remember they kept marketing, that as just like,
all right,
German Shepherd you get to play with. But then, like, there was maybe 2-3 levels at most, and that had utilized that dog. Otherwise, that dog was barely even seen. It was barely there. It was just kind of there for, like, I don't know, moral support or something. I don't know.
Just a marketing gimmick.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, it was honestly pretty useless.
They were making the game. They realized, oh crap, this game sucks. Let's quickly throw a dog in it so we can put it in the marketing. Go.
Yeah.
Like, it was just not. I don't know. It just wasn't particularly good. But I suppose it was. I mean, I got some sort of enjoyment out of it, because again, the set pieces were. Each level just kind of like wowed me, because it was like, oh my god, like, again, it's playing through these games are like playing through a Michael Bay movie, right? It's
right.
Everywhere, and you don't know what's going on half the time. It's just people screaming like, we gotta go. That's it. And then, like, I mean, that line alone is just repeated 80,000 times. We gotta go. I don't want to stick around. Yeah. So
someone should mod a Call of Duty game to replace all the dialogue with Wilhelm screams.
Yeah.
That would be kind of funny.
Yeah, it would be.
It would be funny, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was, overall, I think it was definitely, one of the weakest ones. I mean, again, in my history of Call of Duty isn't as vast as some others, because, I mean, again, I'm not a multiplayer guy, so I play the campaigns and I'm done, right? I think the only one I really, like, invested a lot of multiplayer in was the original Modern Warfare and the original Black Ops, because those on 360, yeah, I mean, well, honestly, on Xbox 360, that's probably where I spent the most of my multiplayer time, right? Because it was those two games, then Halo 3, of course, which was, so that was a chef's kiss. So, like, and it just... Gears of War, obviously, and yeah, 360 was like the multiplayer sort of console for me. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, I've always been, someone who really appreciated those campaigns, because I do like the campaigns a lot, but it's just, I don't care for the multiplayer, and a big part of that has to do with just the player base, which I just find
annoying.
Annoying, and it's not for me, to put it in the nicest terms possible.
You don't like hearing kids yell at their mom for more chocolate milk?
Yeah. Or just kids yelling obscenities is more like it, but
right, yeah.
At their mom
yelling,
for
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I like I like the single player Call of Duty campaigns. I enjoy them more if they're co-op with somebody online. You know,
Yeah, the new one has that.
I miss co-op shooters, man.
Yeah,
like, give
like
me an
co-op.
online co-op.
Yeah.
Let's
Let
go.
me get my buddy. Let's go. You know.
Yeah,
You can still.
there's still quite a few of them out there that
You
has
got the
co-op.
Sniper Elite series and the Zombie Army series, and
I had a blast with Outriders co-op. That's the only way I played it. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
3-person co-op.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in Back 4 Blood, you have to play with someone, even if it's.
You guys remember
random.
Army of Two?
Yep.
Yeah.
The Army of Two.
Yeah,
Those
actually,
were great co-op
They are
games.
good
Not
co-op
good. Not good
games.
games overall. But
No, but they were fun to
great
play
co-op
with.
games.
Co-op games.
Yeah,
that made it a lot
sure.
better.
For sure.
Those and what was the other one that was kind of well, I guess it wasn't really like it. They were kind of different, but God, what was it?
The 50 Cent game had good co-op too. That
No,
was
I
definitely
do remember that
polished
game.
co-op. It's good.
Uh,
It's an action game.
Yeah.
God, what was it? I think it was technically a Battlefield game, I think, but it was like more goofy. Do you guys know what I'm saying?
Oh, you mean Bad Company? Battlefield
Yeah,
Bad Company?
maybe that.
Yeah, that had co-op. Oh, we did
Yeah.
crazy stuff in
Yeah.
that game. Me and my buddies.
yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh!
didn't
Yeah,
remember Bad Company had co-op in it.
Bad
Yeah.
Company did because we
Yeah.
would just do stupid stuff in that game
Yeah,
all
my
the
brother
time.
and I played a lot of those. Like a lot.
We
of
never did the missions. We just drove around and just done stupid stuff.
But yeah, I mean, overall, Call of Duty Ghosts was, I mean, it was just kind of whatever. I didn't like by the end. I was just kind of happy it was over. You know,
Yeah, I think that's the one. That might have been the one where I wasn't. I had kind of was like, I read some reviews. I was like, well, been pretty good about playing them, but I think that's one I'll just have to pass.
Yeah,
wait till
I
it's
don't
like
know.
$10.
Right, which is
$5.
Again, well, that's the thing. I got it for if that less than $5. You know, so like so I mean, it was fine as a sort of ticket of admission to just play a nice little sort of 6-hour campaign, I suppose. But but and I mean, it felt good. Again, it's the gunplay in those games are sort of unparalleled, right? Where it's just like, I mean, they feel so good. Call of Duty is one of the few games, shooter games, on console, that actually feels great with a controller. You know, because I'm usually a keyboard mouse type guy, right?
Yeah.
And especially with first person shooters. But man, if they didn't just nail the sensitivity
got it down.
and everything,
Yeah.
they've got it down. So
And the
Battlefield's pretty good too.
the new one, the campaign of the new one, a lot of people are saying that it's really, really good. Graphically and story wise and gameplay wise. So.
yeah, oh yeah, I mean it looks great, but I'm not paying $70.
No, I'm not either.
right.
I don't pay $70 just for the campaign. I just
No,
don't.
you lost your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a game I'm gonna wait till it's down to like that. At 20 still pushing it, but maybe like 10, 15.
Yeah.
It won't take long. Give it about a month or two,
Yeah.
and and it'll be back in the
Facebook
bargain.
Marketplace, you can always find it cheap right there
Right.
after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I saw somebody selling it for brand new for $50 on on Craigslist.
Jesus, all right.
PS5,
That
brand
sounds
new.
about right.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, 50, huh?
It's like
Ooh.
Call of Duty games and Ubisoft games. Just wait a week. Just 1 week. That's all you got
A
to do.
week? You're being
Yeah.
generous for Ubisoft. We're talking 3 days.
72 hours.
You're not
Look at that
wrong.
price drop. The reviews
we
tanked.
know it's going to be somewhere for a Black Friday deal. It always
Yeah,
is.
I
Of
mean,
course, of
with
course.
Ubisoft, you can always count. It's going to be like,
Yeah.
if it came out in September, time Black Friday comes around, it's going to be like $20 to $30
Well,
off.
I
Just
think
gotta wait and
I
be
think
patient.
the only deal that I've seen so far for the Black Friday this year is it's free with a Series S. Call of
Oh,
Duty
yeah.
is, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. See, and that's what I mean. Yeah, if you buy a Series S right now, you get Call of Duty for free, right? So it's like these bargains happen all the time.
Winning.
They're just giving these games away for like just wait, man. It's all right. I don't need that. I don't have any FOMO. With Call
No,
of
yeah,
Duty.
no, I don't either.
Get out of here. But
I'm curious, what are you guys really looking to for Black Friday? Is there anything what's the one thing that you want that you want to
Nothing.
pick up?
I'll
Nothing.
tell
Not
you,
doing
nothing,
Black
nothing.
Friday.
Not a thing.
Let's see.
Yeah, last year was the first Black Friday in a long time, and maybe even the year before that. And it seems to be the same case this year also. Just looking at everything, where it's like, maybe I've reached a point where there's nothing I want anymore. Because like literally, like last year, I didn't care, I didn't buy anything. I don't think on Black Friday, except maybe.
I bought a Quest last Black Friday because it was on sale.
Okay.
That's literally the only thing I bought.
Yeah, like I don't know. Nothing really is doing it for me
I
anymore.
mean, I think a couple years ago I spent some money bought like an EverDrive and a couple other things, but I don't really know. I mean, I'll probably have a list and I'll look, but there's nothing that screams I need it.
Yeah, like
I really want a backbone.
Ooh, okay. I was gonna say maybe Gotham Knights. I know reviews haven't been great, but if it's like $30,
yeah, if I can get that on a budget, like
yeah, I might do that.
If I got a buddy to play with,
Maybe
I'll do it for
20.
30.
I don't know. I would do that one for 20.
Come on, look at that price
I
go.
wouldn't mind 30.
I do like my Arkham games.
Yeah,
so.
me too. Yeah.
But that's the problem that people have
Where's
with
my-
it. It's
where's
not
my
an
Yeah,
RPG.
that's why I said 20 because it's not an Arkham game.
Well, but it's more of an RPG, open world RPG Arkham game than it is.
But not Arkham.
No.
You think there's Arkham in it, but it's not.
No, but I still
That's
want it.
everybody's problem with it.
I don't have
If
a
they
problem
can
with that.
optimize the stability for co-op play, then I might.
Yeah, and get
Good
that
luck.
get that 4-man co-op patch.
Oh, I know.
Come on.
Yeah, if you watch the Digital Foundry video about the PC version of Gotham Knights, you realize there's a lot more problems in there, like just in the game engine itself and how they put it together. So optimizing anything is going to be a pain.
Yeah.
I will have to check that video out.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, Ghosts was disappointing, but again, I mean, for $5, I didn't mind. You know, I mean, it was a fine $5 experience. You know, the campaign, I didn't know what the hell was going on, but again, the gunplay felt really nice, and it was a nice sort of, you know, I mean, it was fun to go through. Nice little bite-sized missions. But overall, yeah, definitely the weakest. I think Call of Duty. I've from all the ones that I've played, that's probably the weakest, like, for sure.
Have you gone back to Infinite Warfare yet? Was that the name?
That is on my list. Yeah, that is on my list. So I'll talk about that.
I think about that game all the time, and I didn't put much time into it, and I kind of regret it because I remember really wanting a Halo game back then, and I'm like, what if this is the Halo replacement? And I just never gave it a chance.
Well, so actually, I'm glad you brought it up. So I'll transition into that next then. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, not Halo. I could see. I just started thinking Halo Infinite.
I didn't even look at your list. You do have it listed here.
I do. Yeah.
Surprise! You're welcome for that segue.
That's the one in space, right?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. That's
yeah.
One in space, right?
Yeah, that's the one in space. Yeah. So honestly, I thought it was awesome, right? Like by the end, I thought it was really, really great. By the time the credits rolled,
$5.
I thought it was like really well put together. The cutscenes were awesome. That game like holds up really well in the graphic department. Like man, like I was just really shocked by it all. The only thing, again, much like Ghosts, right, where like they kept promoting you know, because Game of Thrones was so big at the time. Kit Harington, who's in the game, you know, Jon Snow.
I forgot. I completely forgot.
Was he the protagonist?
He was the antagonist, so he was the bad guy. Yeah, kind of like how Kevin Spacey was for Advanced Warfare. The problem is, yeah,
that didn't age well.
They're destroying copies of the game. Hurry!
but Kevin Spacey again, and we've talked about this before. I mean, like
he does a good job.
Yeah, he's a great actor, right? So I mean, you know, but you know, he did what he did, and you know, it's whatever. I mean, you know, the rest is history. But he's a fantastic actor, and I'm glad they utilized him in such a way in Advanced Warfare, where it was just like, okay, no, he put in the work. He's very much a part of this game. Jon Snow. Let me tell you about Jon Snow in this game.
Tell me about Jon Snow.
I will tell you, Rob. You see this dude maybe a total of 5-6 times, and he says the same thing every time you see him. First of all, you only encounter him once.
Does he just say you can't tell me what to do over and over again?
I mean, I guess between the lines he's technically saying that, but like,
sorry, we were rewatching Lost, and they just say it every episode, and it's obnoxious. But go ahead.
Yeah, but like. This dude, I swear, like the whole time, like he shows up in this feed, right? He always hacks into your sort of like you know, little camera feed, and he's like, and he's basically saying the same thing every time, which is just like, you know, you cannot protect Earth, Mars Eternum. That's all he says all the time, and he says Mars Eternum over and over again for each time you see him, and then that's it. He's got a line that's maybe like 10 seconds long. He paces back and forth because he's pissed off about something, I don't know, and he just says Mars Eternum by the end. And like, I'm like, dude, like, why are you here? Like, really, that's the big
marketing.
Question. Why are you here?
They give him some money to be in for like a day, and then they can put him on the box.
Yeah, I mean, that's like it's so. But how much Game of Thrones fans like cross over into Call of Duty, and then not to mention it's in space. Like it'd be one thing if it was like a medieval thing, I guess, so you can sort of cross that over. But like, it's in space. On
What if
top
he
of
was just in his Jon Snow outfit in space?
Does his character still have the curly hair?
Yes, he does. He does.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, it is him. Like it's a one-one representation of him, but it's. Yeah, I don't know. His character sucked. Like it was just like you're pointless to this overall story. I think the whole defending Earth thing and jumping from galaxy to galaxy was not galaxy. I guess more solar system than galaxy, um, but like that was pretty cool, I guess. And the voice acting and the performances were awesome. And like the way it transitioned also from cutscene to gameplay, because it was clear that the cutscenes were pre-rendered, right? Even though they looked fantastic. But for once, these cutscenes, because games have a bad problem with this, where it's like if you're gonna have pre-rendered cutscenes, stop compressing the hell out of the footage. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
artifacts and the bit
That's the
rate.
problem with it, though. If you use pre-rendered stuff, that means you have to have a video, and video files are going to be bigger than all of the code to do it in real time in the engine. So you only have so much space to put in your thing,
I
unless
suppose, yeah. But thankfully everything was smooth, and like you really had to look for the grains and the artifacts for in these cutscenes. So it was really really well done, and like there was barely any loading, right? Like I mean, and you were talking about a game that came out like pre SSDs and stuff like that, right? So like it was really really impressive.
How long was the campaign?
4 hours.
5 hours.
I don't. I'm
6
sure
hours.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I would say it was about a solid yes, but maybe around closer to 7. It was a strong 7-hour campaign, and I walked away really really happy. I mean, by the time the credits started rolling, also, they had this really neat thing where it was just constantly interactive. That even the credits were interactive, where you had these sorts of I say interactive, but the credits as they were scrolling, you had these sort of audio logs that were pre-recorded for people that and I don't know, Robin, maybe you can attest to this. I've never been in the military, but they had these audio logs that were pre-recorded that would only play if they were KIA basically, right? So like, but I don't know, if that's a thing that's
Well, my time as a space marine was, it was only over a 5-year span. No, I mean, we didn't have any recordings or anything like that. I also wasn't a grunt, so I don't know, but no.
Well, I mean, like, but these were people in prominent positions and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, like, if they were, just killed in action or whatever, then they had these audio logs that were sent to their families, and since that was the case, mainly really in the last 2 missions, because everyone was pretty consistent until the last 2 missions. Then all of a sudden, like these characters that were actually pretty well developed, and I was just like, no, why did they, why them? Nah, man, that's not cool. But such as
Let me
war.
break the illusion a little bit for you. So even when I was overseas, this was like 2011, 2012, and I was in a theater of war, right? I could still call home on a satellite phone. So in the future, when we are at war in space, I am sure there will be a way for them to contact home. And unless you are like the front lines, you are like in the thick of it. But
Sure.
yeah.
But I don't know. These audio logs were just there for like just I guess so they didn't have to hear it from someone else, and it could be more of a personalized goodbye message, right? So I guess it's just what they were going for. But it was really neat. Just listening through.
It makes for good story.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I don't know. It was honestly like sort of like sad by the last mission, because I was like, man, like these were actually like you didn't realize how good those characters were actually like developed throughout the campaign. Because you focus so much on all the gunfire that's happening and the explosions and the just like we gotta go again, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but but you don't realize like how like well these characters are developed throughout until like they're gone, and you listen to these audio logs in the credits, and it's actually it's actually like really touching just because of how good the performances are also. So but but yeah, overall, I mean, like that was great, and there was a nice palate cleanser coming off of Ghosts. Because I initially I wanted to play Infinite Warfare immediately after Advanced Warfare because I thought it would be a nice sort of transition into it, only because Advanced Warfare was still very like tech focused, right? And it was like
Yeah.
sort of futuristic, not as futuristic, but still very like influenced by the technology. So, but I was like, you know what? Let me go to Ghosts instead because I don't know, something told me I was like, I'm probably really gonna like Infinite Warfare just because I love sci-fi in general, right? So like, I'm excited to go to space and do all that. I know that was made fun of, before the game came out. Call of Duty in space, what are they doing?
Because it was
You know?
Call of Duty. If they had just
Right.
taken Call of Duty out of it and they would just released Activision's Infinite Warfare, like people probably would have, received it better.
Right, more than likely, yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, but so I'm glad I got Ghosts out of the way because honestly, it was just kind of whatever. It was really disappointing. But Infinite Warfare was a really nice palate cleanser and just overall just a really really solid game. I did, funny enough, when I played Advanced Warfare and when I played Ghosts, I tried the multiplayer a little bit. Now, emphasis on try because I was just curious, right? Because those games are so old, I was just like, is there still an active lobby? Nope. The answer is no.
I was gonna say, like, are there still people playing old
No,
Call of Duties?
no, yeah. When I played Ghosts and when I played Advanced Warfare, well, the reason why I thought there may have been some sort of active lobby only because I mean these games always sell millions of copies, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and as former GameStop employees, right, I think we can all attest to the fact that like how many of these old ass Call of Duty games did we sell on a daily basis,
A
right?
lot.
Yeah,
A
but it
lot.
was probably people buying them for like their 5-year-old kid, and they're like, "This is good.
5-year-old
I
kid.
only have to spend $3 on this game for my
Yeah,
kid."
So
yeah,
he
fair
can
enough, yeah. But I would think, it's, these, bargain bin Call of Duties, they're just going out left and right. So I'm just like, surely someone's playing them, but no, I mean, it kept telling me that, we can't find a suitable number of players to get you in this lobby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
sounds
I was
about right.
never, yeah.
Ever
So I was
since,
never like,
I'm sure once Warzone came out, they shut all that crap down because
oh, I'm
everybody
sure.
just went to Warzone. So
Right,
Yeah,
well,
I mean, it's the
'cause
same
you
people
don't
that
even have
buy the
to-
next year every year,
yeah,
right?
because you don't even have to
Right.
buy, you don't have to buy Warzone every year. I mean, you
Nope.
don't even have to buy Call of Duty to play online. So,
Right.
it's,
Right. But yeah, yeah. So both of those were, yeah. There was no chance that I was going to get into a lobby at all. So that didn't happen. But Infinite Warfare actually is still pretty active. Actually, I was getting into matches no problem. I was
Wow.
curious.
Wow.
Yeah,
Pretty
I
crazy.
I played about 3 or 4 different matches.
What year was that one?
2016.
2016, really? Wow, Jesus. That's
Hmm.
surprising that that's still as active as it is. Then.
Maybe because it's different.
yeah.
No, that's true.
Yep,
That is true. It is
2016.
very different. Yeah.
Was that the
I-
year that they posted like their worst year ever for Call of
No,
Duty?
I also looked up on Xbox.
Maybe?
You can still buy it on the Xbox store. It's $60 though.
Oh, yeah, you
Oh,
can still buy most
I
of
was like,
them.
what?
What?
You've lost your mind. Yeah, no, that's crazy. No, that was definitely another $5
Getting used
purchase
copy
for me.
for PS4.
60? You crazy? No, get out of here. But yeah, no, it was. But yeah, I was surprised that it was still active. And again, I didn't wait long at all. I mean, I was in and out of matches, no problem. I only played about 3 or 4 because again, I'm not a multiplayer guy. But I was just curious, right? I was mainly just for research. I was like, is this still
Yeah.
active? Let me see what happens, But yeah,
But
overall,
if it was still active, it probably
Don't-
would have just been a bunch of bots and a
don't
bunch
pay-
of people,
don't pay $50
glitching through
kids.
walls.
You can
Yeah.
get a 10 you can get it $10 at GameStop used.
Oh,
bucks,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's that much.
Fine, I'll
But,
use my $5 monthly coupon.
But yeah. Anyways, on the topic of shooters, have been playing Overwatch 2. A lot of Overwatch 2. Been playing that across PC, Xbox, and Switch. Since there's finally, I've been asking for this for years, but there's finally cross progression. So I can just pick up right where I left off, and I don't have to dedicate all my time on one platform. If I just want to stay in bed and play on my Switch or on my Xbox, whatever, I just play on the TV. Then I don't have to feel like I'm wasting time on a Smurf account. Because I always felt bad about that, right? Because I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in Overwatch over the course of 6 years. But here I am. I'm being teamed up with these level 1, level 2 people, and it's just a slaughter. And I feel bad. And it gets to a point where it's just not fun. It's fun for like the first 1 or 2 matches because you're just cleaning house, right? But like after a while, it's like, man, I do want to be leveled. I do. Like
Right.
with people that are more or less on my on my skill level. So it's that way we can help each other sort of get better and keep that sense of strategy rather than getting into too comfortable of a place and uh, and it just becomes boring after that. But yeah. Anyways, Overwatch 2, it's free to play, and as is with any free to play game or application, it's gonna come with microtransactions and stuff like that. It is not the best ecosystem that they've implemented. Now, skins and events. I want to use an event as an example because right now the Halloween Terror event is still ongoing. It is pointless. It's pointless. I've accepted the fact that I don't think I'm ever gonna get new skins ever again. Because first of all you have to pay an egregious amount of money, just an exorbitant amount of money. For example, the new Kiriko Witch skin is $26, and mind you, that is on sale. It's
Yeah.
on sale, and it says it's minus 29% off, and it's
Ooh.
2,600 Overwatch coins, which more or less translates to $26.
That's
And
just stupid.
That'd be
yeah.
some money. Yeah.
Mind you, that's for one skin, all right? And a lot of people made good points of just like with other games, primarily stuff like Fall Guys or Fortnite and stuff like that, where it's like, they have similar prices, but you get, let's just say, a $10 package from Fortnite or Fall Guys, whatever, $10, but that's universal, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a separate equipment slot for everything. Your back bling, there's a separate equipment slot for your trail for when you're, flying down, and your glider, that's separate. Your skin is separate. Your guns are separate. Your skins for your guns are separate. Your emotes are all separate, and those are interchangeable across anyone and everyone, right? So you can mix and match anyway. If you want to make, and there's a lot of these, if you wanted to make Goku and Vegeta, do,
I do. I
pop
do.
lock, drop it. Yeah.
That skin will
But
be $30.
Yeah.
but yeah, but if you wanted to make them like, pop lock and drop it, you can do that, right? Because you can set the emote, right? If you want to give them a glider that's this cute little unicorn glider, and make it look as goofy as possible, you can do that, right? And it's like there's really no restrictions. It's up to your imagination. But if I'm paying $26 for this Kiriko skin, that's only for Kiriko, right? And the same thing
Right.
with the charms, same thing with the weapons, where it's just like, these charms they're only for her. And like, and I really love Kiriko, the new hero, that's been out in Overwatch 2, and like she's great, but like, come on, man, $26 for a skin that's really locked down to one person, and it's like, and that's what these bundles give you. It's a skin, a charm that you can barely see to begin with because they're so tiny,
Yeah.
and then uh, a usually a highlight intro also, right? So you get three things, $26. Get out of here, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, be real, be
Maybe
real.
like a bundle of 3 or something, you know?
Or a
That
bundle
would
where
be
it's a
more
theme
reasonable.
that works for multiple characters, so you have
Right.
like the
They
Christmas
have
Right.
outfit or whatever,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They have enough characters that they could bundle these things.
Exactly. So it's disappointing in that case. And but overall, I mean, the game it's more Overwatch, and I love Overwatch, so by default, I'm gonna love Overwatch too. The game is more or less the same. The new modes are great. They have a push mode, where you just kind of sort of, I mean, it is what it sounds like. You just push it's almost like a glorified tug of war, right? Where there's a robot that you essentially push towards their base, and then if the majority of the opposing team is surrounding the robot, then it gets pushed towards your base, right? And the first one
Kinda
to,
interesting.
yeah, and then the first one that gets into the zone wins, right? So, and it's constantly going back and forth depending on who is dominating the area around the the robot. And so, yeah, it's like a really neat spin on tug of war, basically, and it's really really cool. Um, and then there's another mode that's called like Royal, like Circuit Royal or something like that, or Circuit Royale, and it's just, I mean, it's just a glorified payload. Basically, it's just, I think they just changed the shape of the car, really. It just, and to make it look like one of those Indy 500, like, you know, uh, F1 vehicles, So it's like that's all that is. But those are fun anyways. The new maps are really really pretty, really detailed. There's still a lot of things missing. The PvE, or the story mode rather, is not there. So hopefully, I mean, I'm assuming that's coming sometime in 2023. But I was under the impression that this would be just a collective package of here's Overwatch 2, and it's all coming out at once, but it was not the case. I'm assuming because they're keeping it free to play, and that's going to be the multiplayer. More than likely you're going to have to pay for the PvE campaign,
Right.
So, and hopefully that's not a stupid amount of money. So, but yeah,
$500.
Yeah.
yeah. Which honestly, with the rate this is all going, wouldn't be too
Hey,
far.
skin's
from the
25.
ballpark.
Surely it's worth 500. Come on.
Right. But yeah, but overall, I mean, it's Overwatch. It's just how you remember it, and it's more or less the same. It just has a big 2 on it. That's it, and there's no price of entry. So, but yeah, I just kind of ignore the store now. It's unfortunate, and the new seasonal events. There's nothing to do now. They just have like a little mode for you to play through. Just a nice little fun little 10-minute story. No different from how they've always had it, but now you can't unlock anything, so because you have to pay real money. It's just like, no, that's not fun at all for anyone.
Why don't
Yeah.
they have stuff you can unlock and then premium stuff that you have to buy? Like,
Yeah,
it's
like
hard,
some sort
guys.
of like
right? Yeah, you
like
would think at
want to
least
make it
that.
all unlockable, but then you can still pay if you want to unlock,
Right,
skins
right.
and the emotes
Right.
and the cool stuff
Right.
sooner.
Just
That would be
literally-
great because
Yeah,
people are
you
going to
mean
throw money
literally
at
like
it.
every other game? Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. Yeah.
And I wonder if they're just feeling this out, trying to, and they will change it, or is this?
We're Overwatch. We can do what we want.
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
cash hungry.
I don't know.
Yeah. But
Things are
there's a-
weird over there right now. So
Yeah, they're very weird. Yeah, but things are. But hopefully people are voting with their wallet, because I know I didn't even see one person who was like for the $26 Kiriko skin. Just using that as an example, because there's more issues than that. But just using that as an example, hopefully they look at the sales and go, man, we really only sold about 10 of these. And then just like, when they
That's
probably
it, just 10.
yeah, just
10 on the
that's it,
dot.
yeah. But hopefully, I'm sure they have targets, right? Where it's just like, if we sell at least 20,000 of these, we'll be good. But hopefully they're looking at their numbers, and then hopefully it's a big swing and a miss, and they're realizing that this is just not connecting with players the way we want it to. So we have to go back to the drawing board in terms of how we want to handle premium content like this. The season pass is your typical $10 a month. Not $10 a month, $10 per season, which isn't bad. I mean, each season is 3 to 4 months anyway, so I don't mind paying $10
that's
for
not
3 to
bad.
4 months. Yeah,
No,
so
I don't either. I do that with Sea of Thieves. It's $10 every
Yeah.
season, so it's like,
Right.
yeah, $10. Why not?
yeah, and especially like if you're gonna play as active as you are, like you are, John, with Sea of Thieves, and how I am with Overwatch. So it's just like,
Right.
why not? I'll just get all this extra stuff for $10 and
Well, yeah,
work my
and
way
I don't mind throwing $10 here and there at a free to play game. I just don't.
And again, it's every couple of months too. We're not asking,
Right, not doing every month of it.
Yeah.
right,
It's like,
exactly, yeah. So yeah,
I just
it's
try to like match the value of what I'm paying to like as if I was buying, a standalone game.
of course.
Like, have I
Yeah,
gotten
yeah.
$60 out of this game? I can pay up to $60, that sort of thing.
well,
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
that's like me with Sea of Thieves. It's like, well, am I playing it $10 a season, which usually is 3 months or 2 months, 2 or 3 months? Usually, yes. Now, this last season, no, I haven't, just because I haven't had time. I haven't been home, but and I may not buy the season pass, if I don't have time. But it's, to me, it's like, am I going to pay $15 a month for an MMO? If I'm not playing it enough, then no. But luckily,
None of us do that.
No, none of us do that. I don't. Not
Too many
anymore.
games, not enough time.
I just do the free. I do the Final Fantasy online for free. So
I'm well beyond that.
yeah. I'm glad they have a free option, because I just don't have time for an MMO like I used to, and it's not feasible for me to pay $15 a month and literally not play the game for a month or two.
And that's why I stopped, because I mean, WoW is the most time I've invested
Yeah,
in
me too.
any MMO ever.
Yep,
and,
me too. Had the
you know,
old
but-
time sink.
But even when Legion came out, no, actually, I played a lot of Legion. What was the one after that? Battle for Azeroth. When Battle for Azeroth came out, I jumped in for maybe 2 days, and I was like, well, there goes $15 for the month. I barely, I got
Yeah.
nothing out of it.
I haven't played World of Warcraft since Mist.
Right. Wow. Okay. Jesus. It's been a long time then.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
They gave me like a free week for Cataclysm to come back.
Burn.
I did that.
Yeah.
What
And
was
then I left.
What was the expansion with the Blood Knights? That was the third one. That was the last time I played.
Lich King, yeah.
Lich
Yep.
King, yeah.
And that was the last one we played. I think my buddies bought the next one, but by that time I just didn't have.
Lich King's still the best. That's still my favorite.
Yeah, that was the most time I sunk into it.
Yeah. Well, that was when me and the wife were both playing at the same time, and it was like in the summertime I had so many accounts because it was like refer a friend and get this, and she would refer, and I would buy. Black Friday we would stock up on the base sets for $5. Yeah, they were selling them for like $5 a piece, so we'd buy like 4 or 5 of them and just stash them away. And then the summertime would come, and she had free time, and I had free time, so it was like, well, I'll set up another account. She would invite me, and then we would get like double XP for like however long that was, and then you could merge accounts.
Yeah.
So it was like then we do it again and do it again and do it again. So at one point I had every slot with like a 60 maxed out whatever. It was like we played a lot of World of Warcraft. But yeah, I mean,
there were very good times. I mean, I loved every moment I spent.
I did too.
Yeah,
I miss it. I wish I could get back into it again, but we neither one of us just have time to do it. I mean, I really enjoyed playing it. It's fun, but maybe when Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard, maybe they'll roll it into Game Pass as free to play or something.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, I would I would actually play. I would play it again. It's not costing me any money, so it's like okay.
Can you imagine? My God, that'd be incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be incredible. That would actually get me back in. Actually, because
then I wouldn't feel bad. It wouldn't feel bad if I didn't play it for a month or two.
Right,
It's
exactly.
like because it's not like I paid a subscription for it. So
yeah,
get me. Last time I played Warcraft, it was a real-time strategy game.
I like those too. I like the real-time strategy games. Yeah, but I like Final Fantasy Online. I've got it. I'm still trying to get it to run right on the Steam Deck. I don't think it's downloading and running right, but now it's running right, but it's not recognizing my controllers for some reason. So I'm playing this weird move with the mouse pads and the camera. It's like, why it worked before, but now all of a sudden it just doesn't do it. So I don't know what that's about. I haven't booted it up in a while, so once again, no time. Plays great on the Steam Deck though. Man, it's so awesome to be able to play an MMO on a portable handheld machine like that. It's just the Steam Deck this year has changed the way I play games. Just hands down changed the way I play games.
Really. Steam Deck's incredible. But yeah, anyway, Overwatch 2. I mean, it's more of Overwatch. I think that's really the best way you can critique it. It's more Overwatch. Nothing about it truly feels like a sequel. It just feels like it's been overhauled, unfortunately, for the worse. But the core foundation of that game is still fantastic though, because the gameplay is great. But the ecosystem is a lot of people, literally, it's gotten so bad people have been asking for loot boxes back. People would much rather have.
I saw that
random aspect of
somebody ran a poll and they said they would rather have loot boxes than the way it is right now. I'm like, are you serious? Wow, that's crazy.
I would much rather have loot boxes, but honestly, it's because they were attainable, and because every time there was a seasonal event, they always had specific seasonal loot boxes where you would more often than not get stuff specific to that event. And it was just exciting. It was like opening a new, gift every time you got a loot box. So even if you got the same thing again, you get coins for it, and then you just use those coins to spend on what you really wanted. So I mean, it was just this recycling beneficial ecosystem that worked. I mean, people can loot boxes. Overwatch popularized loot boxes. The problem is people took the aspect of loot boxes and made them into a terrible gambling component, but Overwatch was always consumer friendly to me and reasonable because there were only so many things you could get anyways. So it wasn't and again, even if you got replicas, that was fine because it would just convert that into the Overwatch coins, which you could just use to get what you wanted anyways, and that was never an issue. They were all priced more or less reasonably. I never, I rarely found myself in a position where I was just like, man, I'm not going to be able to get that. You just put the work in, you'll get it.
Right.
And we're not asking to sell your soul away. It was nothing like that, like other games do. God knows how that's how mobile games are. So. But yeah, the problem is loot boxes got to a point, where it just got super stupid, and then, I mean, we all remember when Battlefront 2 came out and how bad that was, where EA just had to take them off entirely.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
And they got sued for it too. I think by I think like a European government or something. Like it was really.
I
bad.
think so. I think it was the EU that did it. I think if I remember.
Yeah. Like it was really, really bad, and people saw the popularity of it. The problem is that they just really just added an evil component to it, and was like, let's just make this the most, let's just take advantage of the addictive aspect of it and make all this money and give them absolutely nothing in return.
Right.
But Overwatch was never like that. Overwatch was never like that. So the loot boxes worked for the ecosystem that it was built around, and but now it's just like every other free-to-play thing, and it's But anyways, Overwatch 2 is just more Overwatch. But yeah, it's fun where it counts, So and I think that's the most important part. But yeah, anyways, in addition to that, I've been playing a little bit of Lego Brick Tales. Got that sent over to me, and yeah, it's awesome, dude. It's Lego. These last couple Lego games, like Lego
Is that
Brick
the same
Tales,
as Builder's Journey, or does it just kind of look like it? Is it the same
it just kind of
studio?
looks like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same studio either, honestly.
I wasn't
But
sure
yeah,
who made it because I hadn't looked into it.
I
yeah,
will tell you while you're talking.
I don't believe it's the same studio. I could be wrong on that, but I don't believe it is. But Lego Builder's Journey was absolutely fantastic, and Lego Brick Tale's been playing that on PC, and it's awesome. I mean, it's a puzzle game, but like you get to actually build and it feels like you're building Legos and just the freedom and how you can build them. So let's just say, you go through, you find this big river, right? And you're just like, okay, I don't know how to cross this river, and you come across this little hammer icon, and you click the hammer icon. It's just like, okay, now we got to build a bridge, and they give you a set amount of Legos to build the bridge with. And yeah, and you can build it any which way, and you can there's like a simulation test, and they'll kind of put a robot through it just to kind of see, because it's sort of physics based too. Okay, is it stable enough to walk through and stuff like that. And it's awesome, man. It's the levels are really well done. The stories, not that I'm paying much attention to it, but like it's cute, it's funny, and the environments are really, really well done. The graphics are great, and yeah, I think it's such a fantastic. To me, I think it's one of the best Lego games to come out in a long time, mainly because it's an original thing, instead of yet another licensed property, you know, and uh, and yeah, it's just a really, really good, serene, calming time playing through the game, and that freedom of building. I mean, you do have restrictions on how many Legos you can use, but that's just the first time you're building it, because it's sort of, that's the puzzle aspect of it. Is like, okay, what can we build with these limited number of items? But then once you've built what you've needed to build, you can actually go back and fancy it up, and spruce it up, and do all that with however you want to do, change the colors and everything. But yeah, the initial time you build something, you do have a set limit, but then you can always go back and make it look really, really nice.
No, it's not the
So
same studio.
it's not the same studio.
No.
Okay.
Different
Uh,
studio. Deck
but
verified though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. That doesn't surprise me though. I mean, but
I'm telling you, man. That's I look at games like, can I play it on Steam Deck? Yep. Okay. I'm there.
it doesn't surprise me that it's deck verified. I mean, it's even on. I think it's on consoles too.
Yeah,
So.
I think so.
But it works great with the keyboard and mouse. And honestly, I can see myself being absolutely miserable with the control, and I'll tell you why. Because when you're actually building, the controls itself outside of building is fine. Everything works as you would expect it to work. Everything's pretty intuitive. But when you're actually building, it does feel like you're doing a sort of very intricate assembly of the Legos, and so you're sort of using Q and E to go up and down, and then you're using the left mouse button, the right mouse button to sort of place, take away, rotate, and you're doing all these things, and it once you start placing a lot of pieces, especially if you can't see because you're trying to get something in this little lodge on the side, that is infuriating enough as it is. And mind you, I have the freedom to just sort of hold the mouse button and, rotate the camera and stuff like that. And I just can't imagine. I can see myself just my brain breaking with a controller, honestly.
I'll find out. It's on my wish list, so I just haven't picked it up yet. But I'm definitely going to because I like the other one, Builders.
Yeah, Builder's Journey was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, Brick Tales is I would say Builder's Journey is better, but Brick Tales is great in its own right. I mean, again, if you like Lego games in general, absolutely pick it up. I mean, it's so refreshing and original, and you get to go throughout all these different environments and just the building aspect of it and the exploration aspect of it. It almost feels like a, you know, if Tomb Raider, if you took out the enemies and focused more on the artifacts and stuff like that, and the reassembly of some pieces and stuff like that. It's awesome. I love it. I really do love it. It's great. But yeah. What else? Speaking of puzzles, after that I've been played this on Xbox and I beat it as well. It's called Tempest Level Escape. Usually I stay away from games that have the word level in them because and even escape because well, depending on where escape is, right? Because Zero Escape is different. Zero Escape was just a brilliant series just brilliant series. But usually like if you tell me if the name of your game is Escape Room, or stuff like that, it turns me off immediately because I'm like, this is gonna be some cheap indie.
Is it too clickbaity for you?
Yeah, it's too clickbaity, and like it's just like, and I can tell you probably made this in Game Maker in about an hour, and somehow you got the publishing rights to sell this for however much, and like this is just a refund waiting to happen, right? But this looked different. I found this just kind of perusing through the Microsoft Store, and I was like, oh, this actually like, the visuals is what are what struck me right away, right? I thought the game was very pretty, and I was like, all right. I looked up some gameplay, and I was like, okay, no, this seems legit. So I went ahead and got it very cheap, just a few dollars, and because I was in the mood for a puzzle game, and it hit that spot perfectly, right? Where, it couldn't have been more than 2 hours, 3 at most, right? And the levels were all really well designed. It wasn't, even though you had separately, I think it was about 6 or 7 separate levels, but each level, it wasn't just doing puzzle after puzzle. You got to walk around this beautiful environment, especially like the first like 2 or 3 levels, and you're going through the ages. Probably hence why it's called Tempest. It's meant to be throughout time and stuff like that. And but like yeah, first you start on like age 444, right? So it's just nothing but rocks and
It's my favorite age.
right. Right. So, and then you move up to, you know, 2,444. So things are a little more futuristic, right? Then you move up to 21,444, right? And you keep going up, every couple thousand, hundreds of years, and the way the environment changes, the way the tech changes, and the way that the puzzles adapt themselves to the environments are really well done. And it's again, it's simple, it's serene, it's calming, and it was like God, it hit that spot so good. Imagine The Witness, right? But not anywhere near as convoluted, right? And uh, but it's like if you took the visuals of The Witness and put them with the sort of puzzle difficulty levels of Monument Valley. I think that's fair. I think Monument Valley is fair, and even visually to a degree. Then yeah, then that's what you have. Then you have Tempest. Yeah, I mean, I kind of beat it. I beat it fairly quickly. And the puzzles are flexible too, so they're not like, you don't have to do things in a linear fashion. It probably helps if you do, but it gives you the freedom to walk around and do things in a non-linear fashion. Like for example, like I think in the second or third level, there was a door with 3 lights, right? And you needed to activate all 3 lights that were based in 3 different locations off of 3 larger separate puzzles, right? But you didn't have to do, one first and one after the other, right? You could do if you wanted to go there first, okay, go do that one. So long as you get the 3 lights on the door, doesn't matter what order you do them in. You're golden. So, um, but yeah, no, really solid, great cheap game. I saw one person say on the reviews on the Microsoft Store that they encountered a game breaking glitch on the last level that couldn't let them finish the game. And I was worried that that would happen. That didn't happen to me. Again, it was pretty seamless throughout and stable. I think the only problem I did have was but again, you can restart a checkpoint, no problem. I found myself stuck in between two rocks, because the game doesn't necessarily limit where you go. I mean, you have these open sort of environments. And so, I mean, I'm someone who loves to explore and look at the visuals, and I took a couple screenshots, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, let me go up here in these rocks, and I fell in this crack in between, and I couldn't jump out of it. So I just restarted I reloaded the checkpoint, and it was fine. I mean, I picked up right where I left off and continued right after. But yeah, if you're looking for a nice, short, sweet puzzle game with beautiful visuals on top of that, dude, Tempest Level Escape, because I think the game is only like $6 or $7. But yeah, I mean, I got it for even cheaper than that. But even for $6 or $7, I mean, I think that's a solid price, and I think you'd be happy with it. So yeah. Um, but yeah, and in addition to that, actually another puzzle game because I'm in such a puzzle mood. I've been playing a Tale of Paper, Refolded, and it was kind of like, even looking at it, I mean, it more or less played like Little Nightmares, and even progressed like it did. The only problem with A Tale of Paper is that game is very buggy. Like my lord, there was a lot of times where I recorded some footage too of how like those games are like they're 2.5D, right? So you're going
Mm-hmm.
left and right, but like Little Nightmares, there's sort of like a Z-axis also, right? So there you can just go deeper into the background. Um, Now, for some reason, there were multiple occasions where I would walk towards the camera, right? And you would expect an invisible wall. Not the case with the Tale of Paper on a few occasions. I would walk towards the camera I would walk towards the camera and just fall off entirely. It's like I jumped out of the building. I would
Had
just jump
enough.
out of the
I'm done.
Yeah, like, and the guy just said, "All right," and then the camera would just sort of pan down, and as I fell into an abyss of nothing, I had to reload the level, and that was the BS part of that game was every time you had to reload, you had to start from the beginning of the level, even though there were checkpoints, but those checkpoints only applied if you died. So otherwise, if you reloaded manually, it would always start you back at the beginning of the level, and that was BS. I did not like that at all
Yeah.
because because of the bugs that I had no choice, but because I couldn't get out or I couldn't respawn, whatever, I had to reload the level, and that was infuriating. I almost quit like 2 or 3 times because of that. But uh, but overall, by the end, I mean, it was nice. It was a really short game. God, an hour and a half at most.
Wow,
Hmm.
that's
Yeah,
quick.
Yeah, that's
wasn't
short.
yeah, and considering the game's like 20, $25, I was like, oh no, no, absolutely not. But I got a good deal on it. I think it was on sale recently for like $3, something like that. And that's what I got it on. So and I was very happy for $3. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's more Little Nightmares esque, Inside esque, something like that, I think Tale of Paper will definitely scratch that itch, especially since the puzzles utilize sort of different forms because you're a piece of paper, right? So you kind of unfold and refold yourself in an origami type of fashion, right? So you can turn yourself into a frog to jump high, or you can turn yourself into a rocket ship at one point to really get through long distance gaps, things like that. You turn yourself into like a little bird, to or not a bird, but like a paper plane to just help glide in some instances and stuff like that. So it's really cool how they utilize the paper and the different forms to help throughout puzzles and stuff like that. But yeah, the game is very buggy, and I clipped through the levels so many times, and it was infuriating. It was like, you know, but yeah, a couple collectibles. I 100%ed the game, I think. Not in terms of achievements, but in terms of just collectibles and everything like that. So
No.
uh, yeah, some of the achievements are a little absurd. They're not difficult, but they're just absurd. And I was like, nah, this game is like the bugginess sort of ruined everything for me to the point where I was just like, I'm happy I finished it. I just can't I can't keep dealing with these bugs. So
Yeah.
I just didn't go for 100% completion, but in terms of achievements, but yeah, it was solid. Lastly, been playing, still playing Bayonetta 3. It's fantastic. But I will say that, and I think this goes without saying, with it being 7 years old, the Switch is really starting to show its age, right?
Yeah.
Like it's really starting to show its age. Um, Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2 were brilliant, and they look fantastic on the Switch
Oh, yeah.
because they were Wii U games. And Bayonetta 1 specifically being a PS3 game, right? So even older generation hardware, right?
All right.
So Bayonetta 3 has a lot of moments where it is very beautiful, and you can see that they increase some of the textures. However, overall, but that's only close up, right? Like the opening cinematic, oh, so good, so good, and you can tell by Bayonetta's model right away. That was like, oh no, okay, she looks like they definitely man, I don't know if it was because of the shading or whatever, but she looked great, very high fidelity. So. But yeah, that game is really starting to show its age. For some, I don't know what it is, but like docked for some reason. Is that game supposed to run at 60 frames? I feel like it should,
It
but
should.
it should, right? But it docked, it doesn't. Handheld, it usually does, usually. uh, but for docked for
So it
some
runs
reason,
worse.
yeah,
Docked.
That seemed to be something what Digital Foundry
That's
was saying too,
odd.
that
Yeah.
it runs better in handheld, even though only looks whatever
yeah,
resolution. I forget they said it was. It's been a while since I watched the video, but yeah, it runs smoother when you're handheld.
yeah, and
Hmm.
I don't know why that. Maybe because it's lower resolution, so they have more
Yeah.
performance. But like
Probably.
yeah, but you would think with the extra processing power that they keep touting about on the dock, it would be able to do the 1080 60 just fine. And this is Platinum we're talking about too. I mean, they're known for their fast-paced stuff, and they're usually pretty good with getting things at 60, but
Right.
that's just not the case this time around. So it can feel very disorienting, all of a sudden going 60 and then like running at 40 and then running at sometimes 20, and it's all over the place, their performance.
Foundry was saying that they were thinking it's partly because of the scale of the game going up for the arenas being bigger than in the previous two
Yeah,
games, and just with the you can fight as kaiju now, like that making things different, and just all the stuff,
yeah,
like a bunch of little things piling on top of each other to make it where you on the Switch you can only do so much.
yeah, yeah. It's so yeah, it's unfortunate because I think this game it is a beautiful game, but I think, I mean, just imagining this on hardware, that it deserves to be on, um, like at least PC. I mean, this game would be just a masterpiece in more ways
It's,
than one.
it's like I said.
I want to visit the alternate dimension where Sega didn't do stupid things and they continue to make Bayonetta games, so that we
Yeah.
can see what Bayonetta 3 would look like on like the more modern hardware now. But
Right.
yeah, unfortunately, we don't live in that universe.
It's like I told Nathaniel and Eric before you got here. I bought it. The only reason I bought it was I had the collector's edition on pre-order to go with my Japanese collector's edition of 1 and 2. Didn't even take the wrapper off of it. Didn't open it. Didn't play. Just set it on the wall and went, looks nice. Because I'm going to wait and play it on the Steam Deck. And I'll let you put 2 and 2 together on that to figure out how I'm going to play it on the Steam Deck, because it'll run better on the Steam Deck.
You're going to take your Switch and tape it to the Steam Deck, right?
Exactly.
How that works?
That's no.
Yeah.
If you take the cartridge and push it hard enough, it'll go into the Steam Deck, and it just magically works. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's funny how those things happen, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's been that long that the Switch has been out, but it really is. And then and it still
7
sells
years
like
is crazy to think about.
Yeah, I mean, and it still sells a ton of it.
It makes me less excited for the next Zelda game.
Yeah,
it kind of does.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening, but yeah, I mean, but overall, I mean, as a game, I mean, it's really really great. It's what people expected. Where, I mean, it was kind of, you do have this multi-dimensional thing going on, right? Where I think people called that just from the first trailer, even though they wouldn't confirm it, but it is, you do have multiple Bayonettas, and which isn't a spoiler. Yeah, it's told from literally the first frame of that game. You get it, but yeah, it's cool. I love the customization aspect of it because even though I like having Bayonetta look like how she normally does, because it's, I only like to customize so many things when a protagonist should look like a certain way. But yeah, you can change the color of her hair, of her outfit, of her guns, of everything, her glasses, her earrings, and it's really cool. Like right now, I have sort of not an all white, it's like a gray black sort of thing going. But yeah, I mean, you can yellow, pink, green, red. You can
Oh
do all
man,
these sorts of things. Yeah.
I'm remembering all the weird Nintendo themed outfits from Bayonetta 2
Mhm.
that just
Yeah.
looked so weird and
Like,
creepy. You're just like,
well, the Link
whoa,
one
what?
especially. Yeah, like the Link outfit was so
Yeah, that's
wild.
exactly what I
The
was going to
Yoshi,
say. That
the
Link outfit.
Yoshi one was also a bit goofy too.
I
Like they're all goofy,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, the only one that I actually really liked was the Star Fox outfit. That's it, because that one actually looked
Were
okay.
those
But like,
were those outfits only available on Nintendo or on the Switch?
yeah, just on the Switch
Yeah,
versions.
it
Yeah.
was only on
Okay.
Switch version. Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, there was a Princess Peach one too. I remember. But yeah, just the Star Fox one was the only one that looked good because it was like actually like designed around her figure and just like and everything made sense in terms of uh, uh, the proportions, stuff like that. Versus like the Link one was just super weird. I don't know why the tunic just looked. It was all over the place. I don't know. And then the Peach's outfit was like just too wide. I don't know what was going on.
Because
I don't know.
Bayonetta is a weird giraffe woman, so putting
Yeah.
other character outfits that aren't the same proportion just doesn't work very well.
Yeah, I suppose. But overall, the game is it's I'm loving my time with it so far. It's fantastic. I still think Bayonetta 2 is probably my favorite at the moment. But again, I won't know until I'm done, so I don't want to come to any conclusions. Um, but yeah, it plays great. It looks great for what it's worth. But you can definitely see the hardware sort of taking a toll at this point, and I just think it's time to this is first of all not only mobile hardware, but we're talking about mobile hardware from 2017, right? So
Yeah.
it's time for an upgrade or something,
Yeah. And I don't know if Nintendo's going to do it. As long as they're
Yeah, I
still
mean,
selling them
they're
things hands over fists, I don't
yeah, they're
see.
making
well,
all
that's
that
the thing,
sweet,
right?
sweet money.
Right,
Yeah.
there's no reason to. Yeah,
No,
exactly.
there's just no reason to at this point.
But that's one of the reasons why, and it kills me because I've always wanted to. Actually, one of the reasons why I never invested that much time in Astral Chain as I wanted to was because that game was one of the ugliest things I'd ever seen in my life. And like, I love Platinum games to death. I will live and breathe, and I will be a supporter of them, for as long as I live. And but Astral Chain, even though the gameplay and the game itself was fantastic, I had trouble looking at that game, and I got to a
Dude,
point where it's like, I'm tired of these jagged
Astral
edges.
I
Chain
have
was a
that on.
gorgeous game that was marred by, hey, we can't run it with anti-aliasing, so it's
Right.
just jaggies everywhere, and therefore it just like really made that game look really, really not
Exactly.
good.
Well, that's the
But
thing,
like
right?
the design of like characters and all the environments and that type of stuff in that game looked great. It's just
Yeah, it did.
was displayed poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I had to play it with my whatever it was called, the M Classic thing, and run it through that to take the jaggies away. It just to make it look a little better. It was like,
and that was always my problem with Fire Emblem Three Houses also, where Fire Emblem
yeah,
Three Houses is technically a gorgeous game, right? But because of the lack of anti-aliasing, it destroys the image. It
yeah,
destroys it. So but yeah, but Fire Emblem Three Houses. I mean, I trucked through it because it was an incredible game, right?
yeah.
But it was, but man, visually like, and it's so disappointing, right? Because I'm big on art, and art directions are always one of the biggest things that always sell a game to me. So, to see such an artistic vision and excellence be absolutely brutalized
Mhm.
because of the technical limitations is one of the most disappointing
I
things on
mean,
the planet.
you can get away with little to no anti-aliasing if you're at 4K because you have so many pixels.
Right.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But
Yeah,
when you're at like 1080, but your game is outputting at whatever lower resolution and you're upresing it, and you can't get away with it there
Mm-mm.
without it just being garbage.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. and that's one of the things that happened with Astral Chain to me and it sucks because I was enjoying that game, but I couldn't look at it anymore, man. It was giving me a headache, and I was like,
My eyes.
I couldn't take it.
That game was great. I finished that game, but yeah,
I believe
it's just it could have looked better for sure.
Yeah. And I was loving every moment of it, but yeah, it's just it was when and again, it's like when I say I'm not a graphics person, which is true, I say that I don't need photorealism, right? Because I think games like Stardew Valley are incredible, right? I think games like Animal Crossing look fantastic. Yeah, I don't need to see every pore. I don't need Horizon Forbidden West. You know what I mean? I don't need God of War. You know what I mean? I'm okay with polygonal games, right? I'm okay with like stuff like Tempest, stuff like Lego Brick Tales. That's fine, but
they need to look clean.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. It just needs to be clean. That's
right. That's all I ask for. Look clean, get your shading and lighting right. That's it. That's it. Otherwise, I don't need your photorealism. I don't.
Right.
But yeah, it's one of the most frustrating things. But anyways, before we go off on too much of a tangent, Bayonetta 3 so far is fantastic. It feels great. The combinations of moves are fantastic. The kaiju stuff is a little much, only because like even though it's incredible and it's fun, um, you know, it's a gimmick that's almost heavily relied on. And I do just I want Bayonetta to be Bayonetta and be this badass witch that is, going around and you know, you know, cleaning house basically, but I'm constantly, because the enemies are getting bigger and bigger, you're basically forced to, open up, summon, the demons and stuff that are 20, 30 feet tall and go off out of the screen, and
that's like too much of a good thing because they're cool when they're finishers, but if they're there all the time, they're not as cool.
Right.
It's like, hey, I see you all the time.
Exactly. Yeah,
like whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is one of those too much of a good thing type situations, but overall it's great. I'm loving it. And yeah, I mean it's fantastic. I personally think it was worth the wait. I think the only disappointment of it really has nothing to do with the game itself. It is the fact that the hardware is showing its age. That's it. But the game itself is fantastic right now. From what I played, 9.5 out of 10. I would say it's not perfect yet. Bayonetta 2 was perfect, but again, I'll come to a conclusion with that. Once I beat the game, and we'll see.
Yeah. Cool. Nathaniel, tell us about the rats.
We'll get there.
Okay.
We're gonna start the other end.
Well, I noticed you played Elden Ring again, so it was like, yeah.
We'll get there too.
Yeah.
We're gonna start with the one that I'm not gonna talk about too much, but because it was October and stuff, and I was in the mood for something a little bit more spooky, scary, creepy, whatever. I was like, oh, I'm gonna try Scorn because it's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
That game is really cool until it gets into its own way. So like. It looks gorgeous. I played it on Xbox on my big TV, and it's got atmosphere for days. And it's like you're in an HR Giger, artwork, and you're just exploring it,
right.
Getting creeped out by all the creepy biomechanical things everywhere. And oh man, I have to stick another appendage into another thing to help try and solve this puzzle. It's really really cool. If you're into the aesthetic, definitely worth exploring it. Until you get into the game, maybe 2 hours ish. I don't know. I don't remember how long I was playing it. And they introduce combat. And you have this thing in your hands that looks like a gun, but it's not a gun. It's a gun that goes and like sticks out like maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet with like a little plunger, kind of like a little like, hey, rock'em sock'em robot thing. And you're trying to shoot these things that are spitting acid at you. And you don't have any way to heal until you learn, hey, wait, I did have a way to heal, but the game doesn't tell me that. I had to look it up afterwards. And it's like, it's very hands-off, which works well for, hey, I'm exploring this weird space that I don't know what it is, and I'm trying to, like, solve this puzzle to get out here. That works. When it's like, hey, you've got enemies, and there's no good way to, shoot them from a distance. You don't even have, like, dodge buttons or anything, just, like, your movement. It's really, you're very limited compared to, like, even a first-person shooter. And so I'm sure you get other weapons later, but when it first started, I was just like, ugh, it just killed it for me. But like just the atmosphere in that game, they do some really cool graphical things with just how the way like mist and fog works in all these different areas and stuff. It's like the engine or whatever. I assume they did it themselves, but I could be wrong. I haven't looked into it, but whatever they did it in, it looks great. Like that game is really, really cool. So when it was all about like wandering through this environment and solving some puzzles and just like getting creeped out by the atmosphere, that kind of thing, it was great. It was just kind of when they shoehorned combat in there, and that seems to be what most people did not like about Scorn. Even if they finished it, was like, yeah, the combat just isn't the best. Yeah. So I put it down and didn't go back to it.
I get that.
Because I got
it needs combat. I wish people would realize that. You know, it's like understand your strengths, take advantage of those strengths, and if you can't fully utilize another feature that you're trying to do, like in this case, combat in Scorn, just don't do it. I don't know.
I mean, I think the thing that ruined it for me is more like there's a mismatch of what you first are seeing to fight versus what you have to take them out, so they can get you at range and you cannot.
Yeah.
And you have to try and close the distance, but in order to do that, you have to try and go straight at them, but you can't do that because then they'll just like spit the acid at you. Or it's just kind of like the enemy is not matched to your abilities very well for the first thing you find in the game, so it's just kind of like, oh well, I had my fun with it for a little while, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I got my taste of it. It was on Game Pass, so like, whatever, it's fine. If I'd bought it, I'd probably have been more mad, but it's fine. It was like, spent a couple hours. It was on Game Pass, so whatever. It doesn't matter.
All right.
I have also started playing Elden Ring again. I bought the PC version, and I slapped the unlock frame rate mod on that thing, and that is amazing. It's super fancy. So on my machine, I'm running, depending on what area I'm in, anywhere from like 80 to 110 frames a second on my nice, monitor, so that I can see all those frames.
Yeah.
And it's super, super cool. I'm playing a different character since I'm on PC. I'm just playing, new game because I don't have my save from Xbox.
Right.
And so I'm playing as a sorcerer character this time around instead of a dude with a big sword, which is kind of how I played it. I had a big sword and a little bit of kind of a magic, but the magic that I used on my first playthrough was more about like, hey, put cool damage on the sword. It wasn't about like pew-pewing my way through enemies, which is what I'm doing now. It's like literally throwing pebbles and things at them, magical ones. And I was like, oh crap, I'm out of magic. And then I'm doing the stupid little you're out of magic, shake your staff thing. It's like, oh crap.
Nothing. Ah, dang it.
Switch to the flask, refill. So it's just a very different feel to it. And so I think I've put another like 25 hours into Elden Ring again, just on the PC version, which has pushed me over 200 hours total for that game this year. Guess what my game of the year is going to be, guys?
Yeah,
I bet you can't guess.
God of War's not out yet.
If God of War is going to have to be absolutely amazing, so there's a chance, based on the reviews, that it could be. But even then, I'm just like, no, there's no way it's going to push off Elden Ring, because as great as God of War is probably going to be, I doubt it's going to be 200 hours worth of it. And Elden Ring is one of those like special once in a generation kind of games for me.
Yeah.
So it's not only game of the year, it's just like, it's such an insane game that like, when we're in an environment where most of these big open world games come out, or even games as service things, or anything that's like a big scope, and they all have like bugs, or they're missing features, or like, hey, Halo Infinite comes out with like a third of the thing, and we'll tack on stuff as we go, things like that. They put out Elden Ring, which is huge. This game has such a giant map that they smartly kind of section out for you, so you just like keep revealing it as you go, and you keep exploring and find out that like, wow, this game is huge. And that's like pretty much bug free, or it's way more bug free than any other big open world game that's out there. It's like, and it still has lots of that typical kind of like FromSoft dungeon DNA in there too, when you go into like the big castles and things where all the bosses are. It's like you have all these things in this one game. It's doing so many things, and it does them all so well. It's just ridiculous, like how they were able to pull this game off. It's so good. So I've beaten. The fun thing about this time too is some bosses I found a lot easier of the ones I've done again so far, and a couple of them were a lot harder as a magic build.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I was just like, oh, hey, this boss was not hard the first time around, but this time it is, because I can't stagger them with my big sword.
Right, yeah.
it's kind of the same as any other FromSoft game, where depending on what build you do, you have advantages and disadvantages to it. So like with magic, like, hey, you can shoot things from range, but sometimes they'll dodge it, and you're not going to stagger them most of the time unless you're doing the bigger spells that take longer to cast and all that type of stuff. Versus like, you have a big sword, it swings slow, but when it hits, it hits. So you just play differently, whether if or if you're going in with like a shield or something, like, okay, you get into the rhythm of like how you have to block and do things that way versus I'm going to dodge all the time. So you can play these games in a bunch of different ways. So I'm having fun playing it in a different way, but knowing where a lot of the stuff is. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go here. I'm not going to go in this cave because I don't care about it that much. Or, oh, I'm going to do this one because I know I'll get this spell at the end of it or whatever. So it's been fun, and I'm gonna keep playing it for a while, probably until God of War comes out, and then I'll finish that, and then maybe I'll go back to it. Who knows? But it plays really, really well on PC. I've been having fun with it.
It does.
Another game that I played on PC that I totally loaded onto my Xbox before it came out, and then the 30 FPS cap on it. News came out and it's like, all right, let me see. Yep, it's on PC Game Pass too. I will play it there.
Yeah.
Was Plague Tale Requiem. And having played it and finished it, the 30 FPS cap on console is definitely something that's kind of sad. Like some games it wouldn't matter, and you might not think that it would for this one, but there's a lot of stuff in this game where it'd be like, yeah, 30 frames a second, you just wouldn't quite get the same feeling out of it.
Yeah.
Because there's some like... The first game had this too, but there's some kind of Uncharted style kind of run away from the camera kind of chase sequence things where it's all like fast moving, and there's like swarms of rats that are moving really, really fast. So if you're playing at 30 frames a second, it just wouldn't have quite the same frantic feel to it, or at least for me it wouldn't. But at 60 frames a second on my PC, it was very smooth, very fun.
I still don't understand why it's not 60 frames a second on...
Because they are pushing the hell out of the graphics, that's why.
Mm.
So, I mean, maybe they'll put in like a performance mode at some point in the future, maybe, but they are really... The first Plague Tale game looked great. This game makes that game look almost like dirt in some aspects.
Yeah,
like,
I've seen a lot of videos of it.
Crazy
it looks
stuff.
really, really sharp.
Yeah. So, like, just the amount of detail that they're able to put into the environments and even on like character models that they've upped is really, really crazy. So they've got some like bigger areas where there's just more things in it, more NPCs running around in these towns, just like lots and lots of high-res textures on everything everywhere, and the skin shaders are really nice. Games don't always nail that very well because they just don't have the budget for it, or there's time to do it well in the engine they're doing. Like, that game looks great. And it plays very similar to the first game. You're doing a lot of the same things. You still have like your sling. One of the nice things that they changed in this game though is you have infinite rocks. So if you're just doing a normal rock, you can do as many as you want. You don't have to pick them up like you did in the first game. I
got an unlimited pocket full of rocks.
Yeah, like all of your other special ammo that you get, like they had in the first game, you still have to get all the crafting materials and make those, so you have limited number. But for just like your basic, hey, I want to ding a guard in the head, I'm not going to run out and be like, well, crap, what do I do now? You'll at least have basic rocks to throw no matter what, which is good because one less thing to worry about in a game. It's very much about tension and just bad things happening to characters and narrowly escaping death a bunch of times. Like, that game, it's very different than others in like that you're playing. You're not like this power fantasy thing. It's very much like, hey, you're just barely escaping these things. All these crazy things keep happening to you, and there's tolls. So like, one of the nice things that is kind of a holdover from the first game is the main character kind of has PTSD a little bit from all of just the stuff in the first game, and then like some other like mental health issues that sort of they explore a little bit in this game. But man, if you thought the first game went some dark places, no. Plague Tale Requiem is named aptly, to be vague about it, but also just lots of dark things happen throughout that game, and it's just like, Kind of like the first game had some of this too, but there's lots of places where you're like, hey, you're going through areas and you're just like crawling through corpses that the rats have left behind, or this and that, and it's just all like creepy, gross environments, or it's like, oh man, bad things happened here. We don't want to stay. Let's go. But yeah, that game. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember how long it took me to finish it, but it's similar length to the first game, I would say, somewhere around the same, depending on how much you scour it to find all of the things. So a lot of it is going to be similar to the first game. We're on kind of like a linear path, and then you'll kind of like you'll hit like a puzzle room, or you'll hit like a combat arena, or like a combination one where you're solving a puzzle, but there's also guards running around. This game, some of those areas are a little bit bigger, but then there's a few levels where you have kind of like a bigger hub area that you're in that you can explore and run around, and then you kind of go off on like a little mission, and then you come back to it a little bit later in the story, kind of loop back around into it, and it's like now it's nighttime or whatever. But yeah, like the environments are cool, the story is really cool. It's just, yeah, if you liked the first Plague Tale game, you will like this one. Until you're angry at it because of what the story puts you through mentally. You're like, oh man, why do you make me feel this way, game? It was definitely like, for me at the end, I was a little bit angry at it at the end. A good angry. I was just like, oh man, I can't believe you just did that to me, game.
Yeah, you gotta love games that do that. I mean,
that's part of why I like it, because it's different than it's different feelings that it's evoking than what most games even try to do, and it's successful at doing that in its kind of storytelling and mechanics and puzzles and all the different things that go into the sauce that is Plague Tale game. So they definitely leave off at the end. Like, there's a post-credits tease that they could take any number of ways for a third game, so we shall see if they actually get to make one or not, but I'm sure if this one does well enough, they will probably make a third one.
I'm sure.
Unless the studio is just tired of doing rats at this point, and then maybe they'll do something else. Who knows?
Bees, not the bees.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you just need to think, like, what other things swarm? They could turn the rats into bees, or something else. It could work. Maybe. I don't know.
They got to.
There you go. There needs to be a mod for this one where all the rats are just Nick Cage faces.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh no.
Thousands and thousands of tiny Nick Cage faces are trying to eat you. Run away, please.
That'd be great.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing.
That's cool. I have that game on Steam. The first one. I've not booted it up.
I have it on a couple things. I should play it. I think I'd like it.
Was that free on something? I might.
It was. Was it free on Game Pass at one time?
Well, it was on Game Pass, but I want to say it was even on PlayStation Plus, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had it in both places.
Maybe the Epic Store.
I think I redeemed it.
It was given away on the Epic Store at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yay,
I'm sure
the
it
Epic
was.
Store.
But yeah, so Robert, I see you've been playing Cyberpunk.
I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk.
It's funny that you said that or you played that game. I
still haven't played it.
I actually messaged Dennis. It was a couple of weeks ago. I got a hair to come downstairs. Download it to my computer. I not played it. I bought it on PC. I've been playing it. I played it on Steam Deck. It's like, let me fire it up on the PC just to see how well it runs now that's on it. Man, I was running that thing on ultra ray shading, 65 frames a second. It was like,
they put in some work on that thing.
Yeah, it was running smooth as butter. Yeah, it looked really good. It was like,
now that the new NVIDIA graphics cards are they adding a new mode to the PC game that's like super crazy ray tracing.
If only I didn't have to spend like another $1,500.
That's what I was going to say. If only I didn't have to spend $2,000 for a graphics card.
You don't want to buy it right now anyway because the stupid power adapter for it is causing fires.
I've seen those melting. Yeah, I've seen those power.
So I have a friend at work who actually got a hold of one, and he was like, and where we got it is giving him to January to be able to return it. So it's like, well, since I have that long, I might as well put it in, because he wasn't sure if he was going to keep it at first. Like, dude, just make sure that you're careful with that power cable. You don't want to burn your house down.
Yeah, really. But anyway, so you've been playing a lot of it. How far are you in it?
Yeah. I platinumed it on the PlayStation 5.
Oh, okay.
So,
so PS5.
I've put in, I don't know, I probably in total, I think the clock says like 117 hours or something. Now my journey with Cyberpunk started almost a year ago when I got my PC. And that was the first thing I got. It was on sale, Steam sale, $20. I was like, yeah, let's go. You know, they just did their big patch at the time to make it run a lot more stable.
Right.
And you know, over the next couple months, they rolled out their RTX enhancements so that I could, you know, run it at maximum everything. I have a GeForce RTX 3070 Ti, I think is what I have in there. And I was running it at max everything, probably around anywhere from like 50 to 65-ish frames, depending on where I am in the game. And I put in a lot of time on the PC over the course of about 3 to 4 months or so. I didn't realize how much at the time, but there was a lot going on at that point. You know, I was transitioning between jobs and training and all this stuff. So it just it got away from me, and I never got back to it. And I started doing a lot more on the PS5 at that point. And then fast forward to when Cyberpunk Edge Runners came out on Netflix, you know, recently. And what can I say that hasn't already been said at this point? But, you know, they also released their patch that allowed me to sync my saves. And man, let me tell you, this process of getting my save from the PC to the PS5 was a hell of a journey. You know, you Google this thing and like there's no article that like actually says everything you need to do. And in fact, a lot of them say, oh, well, CD Projekt Red says that you actually can't go from Steam to PS5. It's only within the same console family. So you can only go from Steam to their launcher or whatever, and from PS4 to PS5 and from Xbox One to Series X and all this stuff. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to give it a go. I'm just going to try it. So what I ended up having to do was logging in to, I think, the GOG launcher, like GOG Galaxy.
Yeah.
I had to create an account there, or recover my account. I guess I had one. Download GOG Galaxy, connect it to Steam, which cool. From there, it saw my save, and I got all the benefits from linking all my stuff. I'm like, cool. And I'm going through, and I'm looking at there, and there's no like usually it's like link to Xbox, link to Steam, link to AOL Instant Messenger, every single thing in the world except for PlayStation, right? There is no link to PlayStation option, period. And I'm like, well, it's definitely there because I signed in on the PlayStation 5 version. I bought it, you know, because Michelle played the demo and she ended up liking it. I'm like, well, it's on sale again, so I'm going to go ahead and get it. And so we do that, and all my stuff's there. I'm like, cool, this account exists, so I can get my rewards. Apparently, and you know, this is a month or so ago at this point in the journey, that I don't remember the exact steps, but there was like a way to search to connect to another service on GOG Galaxy. So I had to search for the right words to connect to the PlayStation Network. And I did that. And I tried to sign in, and all my information is correct at this point. It's just like error, cannot connect to PlayStation Network. I'm like, okay, so what do? I go and I Google and I Google some more, and everyone's like, oh, you need to like get into the source code of the PlayStation Network launcher, and you need to copy all the. I'm like, I'm not doing all that, not a chance. I was troubleshooting this thing for probably like 3 hours, and I was just like, I'm stupid. I'm just gonna try another browser. I did it on Chrome, and it worked. So eventually got it linked to the PlayStation Network. I go over to the PS5. It had kicked me out of being signed into their account. So I logged back in, and one of my saves popped over. And I was like, you know what? It's good for me. I don't know what save that is. It's an auto save. Like, it's going to be one of the most recent ones. I'm good with it. So I did get everything over eventually. And I was like, well, is my stuff gonna are my trophies gonna auto pop? Because at this point, and I didn't know at the time, I was about 3/4 of the way through to the main story and through most of the side quests. I hadn't done all the side quests yet because I was just focused on like trying to get all the cars at that point. And there's a lot of cars.
A lot of cars.
A lot of cars, a lot of money involved in getting these cars. Thank God for the new duplication glitch. Anyway, so I get my save over there and I'm going through all my stuff, and no, it's not auto popping. It's not auto popping at all. So I already know in the back of my head, well, I'm gonna have to start another save file at some point to get all those trophies for all these story things that I've already done. But it's fine. I'll just get everything I can here on my main save. And it wasn't too bad. I was missing like all the trophies for the Judy side quests and the Pan Am side quests and a few of the story ones. The pathway, like choosing your pathways, verbal choices, I was missing that one too, because I had done too many of them. They didn't offer me enough from that point in the game to the end to get the trophy for it. But I was going through and I was doing all of the side quests first before I finished out the rest of the game. And I came to this one side quest. I had 3 side quests left in this game to pop that trophy. And I get to this point and I go into this house after clearing out all the bad guys outside. And I go up the stairs and I'm supposed to scan these dead bodies that I find to trigger the next part. And it's supposed to trigger, Johnny Silverhand talking to me. And it doesn't. It won't let me scan these bodies. For whatever reason, when I highlight them, it just acts as if it's not a scannable object. And like I am scouring like the deep web forums at this point, trying to figure out what is going on. Is this like a known glitch? And there were known like adjacent glitches to that mission. Specifically where it's like, oh, well, this person you end up escorting doesn't get in the car, and apparently that's been patched since. And like I'm posting on Reddit, I'm like, all right guys, what do I need to do here? They're like, it might just be borked at this point. There's a lot of things that for whatever reason get glitched, and I'm like, son of I'm like, you know what, I have 2 other side quests, I'm gonna go do those. So I go to do the next one, and I'm supposed to get into like this search area. I'm supposed to find this dude's wife and Taylor. And I'm supposed to find the lady in like the pink shirt or something. She's wearing pink is what they say. So I find the lady wearing pink, and wouldn't you know it, I have to scan her. Still not scanning in a completely different mission. At this point, I can't really scan anything if I'm in a mission. If I'm just out in the world roaming, I can scan whatever the heck I want. And I ended up going to CD Projekt Red, and it was like 11 p.m. my time, so who knows what time over there. And I send them a bug report, and I'm like, look, guys, I can't complete these missions. Here's what's going on. Here's everything I've tried. And I don't hear back from them right away. So I'm just like, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to get whatever trophies I can. I already have to replay the game. So then I end up finishing one of the last 3 side missions, and then I start doing some story stuff. I even at that point was just annoyed and created a new save file to do all the cleanup trophies that I knew I had to redo, the pathway stuff and the side quests and the stories up to there. And I'm like, I'm just gonna give it a shot because I got all that stuff done and I have nothing left to do other than beat the game. And so I go back and I start with the lady in pink, and lo and behold, I can scan her. I was really excited. So I scan her, I go through that mission. I'm like, I only got the one left. And I go back and all of a sudden it's just working. And then I look at my email after I complete the mission and I've done all the side missions. I have an email from CD Projekt Red that's like, can you go ahead and send us all of your files on the computer and we'll look into that. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fixed. So I did a lot to make this thing work, and it just worked out of nowhere and for no rhyme and no reason. I don't know. But I ended up getting that platinum, and man, what a ride. What a ride, guys. If you haven't played Cyberpunk, it is not what they promised. Obviously, it's got a lot of issues. It is not 100% stable at this point. It's still not. It never will be, I don't think. But it is, like, the stuff that's there now, the bugs, they're just kind of fun. They're just really funny bugs. I got so many videos from my PS5, just crazy stuff happening. I'm just driving down the road. I hit an invisible something on the road, and all of a sudden I just go flying through the air. No idea what's happening. It's great.
Yeah, I've had ones like that when I was playing.
Yeah. If you're on the motorcycle, you're basically invincible. I'm like speeding, and then I'm just running under cars, and I don't get knocked off. I just keep going. I landed under a car, and it just like I'm upright, and then it just knocks me over on my side. I'm still on the bike, just on my side. The car runs over me, and I'm right back up to the top there. So it is just a lot of fun, man. Johnny Silverhand's a great character. It's just Keanu Reeves, talking some BS all the time, but it's great. At the end of the game, when you beat it, there's like 5, I think, endings in the game, and you beat it, and I wanted to go through and get the rest of them, and you just say, oh yeah, I want to play one more gig, and you go back to this elevator that starts the final mission, and that's where it loads you in. So this is how buggy this game is. That elevator, it remembered from my previous playthrough that it took me to the top of this building to go talk to this girl. But it never came back down between playthroughs. So it reloaded me. It reloaded me back into this new game to do this mission again, the final mission. And I'm like, all right, I can just skip everything. I'm gonna skip all the dialogue. I'm gonna skip whatever I can skip just to make this process quicker to get to the new stuff that I haven't seen yet. And I walk up to that door, the elevator door opens, and I'm sprinting. I'm going as fast as I can, and I just run into the elevator, and I fall through the world because the elevator is not at the bottom floor, and they didn't put a floor to the elevator, guys. I just fell through the world. I was so confused. I had to save that clip and go back and look at it. And I eventually I stopped falling, and I reloaded my save because I was in a loop, right, of just falling. So I'm just going to reload my save. And I did that. This time I slowly walked up to the elevator. The doors open, and I look down, and there's no floor. I can see the sky that's extending below the game world for eternity. So if you ever get to the final mission of that game, make sure the elevator's at the bottom before you go up. That's my pro tip for the day. And that's really all I have to say about Cyberpunk. It's fantastic. It's a gorgeous game on PC, definitely. The PS5 version, it does look really good, but you can definitely see the difference, especially in like the hair and the lighting.
Yeah.
For me, I switched it from fidelity to performance at some point, just because the driving felt so much better at the locked 60 frames, and it was a good choice. It's a real good choice.
Yeah, I played it a lot on Xbox, and I've not tried to move the save. I need to try to do that. I mean, I didn't think about it.
You definitely should. It should be a lot easier on Xbox. You should just be able to link your account. I'd say give it maybe 15, 20 minutes to make sure that the save gets uploaded, and don't just jump over it into the Xbox version. But yeah.
I don't know why everything with Sony is so hard. Even doing like PS4 to PS5, some games, it's just, you got to jump through hoops. And I don't understand that. I just don't. But whatever. I
don't even know who to blame at this point. Like, there was a connection issue. Okay, yeah. I've seen that before with Sony stuff. I'm going to blame Sony for that one. But the fact that they didn't even include like a way for me to like natively link to the PlayStation, I'm blaming GOG for that. At this point, why do I have
Sony?
Well, and see, I bought it on Steam, and my understanding was you just download, or you just link it with the the CD or the Red Launcher or whatever they call it. So
yeah,
I mean,
I
don't know.
It should be simple. It's not. It never is. But that's the price I pay, I guess, to want to move my save over.
That goes back to what I said at the beginning. I just wish it was like everybody took the Microsoft approach, where it's just cloud. No matter where I play it, boop, 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 boop. But
God, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna play that game again at some point. I loved it when I played it at launch. So
yeah,
even with all the warts.
Well,
so playing it again now, I'll be like, hey, some of those like UI things are gonna be smoothed out. So I've like paid attention to some of the.
I forgot some of the tweaks that they made. Like they changed the way the time travel system works. It used to be like a bar that you like clicked left or right on, and now it's like this little dial. So it's just a lot cleaner, I'd say, overall.
And I'm not even playing. My graphics card, I don't even have the 3000 series. I've got the best you could get of what was the last one, 25.
The 2000 series.
Yeah, the 2000 series is like.
I ignore PC when I don't have one.
25 super whatever. I don't even remember what it was, but I mean, and it's running at 1440p, 65 frames.
Yeah.
Ultra ray tracing. It's just like, it was crazy. It's got to the point where it's like, okay, I think what I'm going to do is is I'm just going to run a HDMI cable from the computer to the TV.
There we go.
And just store my stuff on my games on an external hard drive, and just play from there on the PC when I want to.
It's probably a good idea. For me, when I was playing it, I really wanted to play it on PC, because I had just gotten in. I was like, I'm going to get used to keyboard and mouse, and I did. I was really enjoying, being able to that one-to-one movement with the mouse on it, playing it like a first-person shooter. But then it came to driving, and the driving in that game is just not great in general. And driving on the keyboard is just horrendous.
Agreed.
So
you should do what I did and play it on PC, and then as soon as you jump on a vehicle, pick up the gamepad.
Yeah,
that's what I did. I ended up plugging in a DualSense 5 to it, and
it's not the only game I've done that with either. It's a really nice.
I got annoyed with it, honestly, and with how buggy this game was. Like sometimes my UI wouldn't switch over, so it would get stuck on the PlayStation 1, and I wasn't that comfortable with keyboard and mouse. And I was like, I know how to play every first-person shooter. No, I still needed to know what my button prompts were. Yeah. And so when it's like press circle, I'm like, there's no circle key. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it plays really good on Steam Deck. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't run at 60 frames and, look is pretty, but still runs good on Steam Deck. It's like, Steam Deck has just really spoiled me with being able to take it on the road and not have to lug and I say lug, it's like it's a Series S. It's like it's not like something huge.
It's not like it's heavy.
No, it's not heavy. It's not big. It's like, but it's like, am I going to take the Series S or am I going to take the Steam Deck? Well, I'll take the Steam Deck with me, because I can just throw it in my bag and go.
Definitely as like a play on the road sort of thing. I don't know if I would recommend playing Cyberpunk like in its entirety on the Steam Deck, because there's just so much in that world. And I think that's what it was, is I just got so invested into like the world around me. I didn't really care for my character that much. And honestly, a lot of the story stuff, I thought the side quests were better than the main story until like the very end of it. There's just so much in it that I feel like you might miss out on playing it on such a small screen.
I don't know. You sit down and once you actually play something on it, it's not like a Switch. It's not like a Vita.
Yeah, but it's still a small screen.
It is a small screen.
You're playing a game where the sense of scale of the city is a big important part of like what they wanted you to feel in that game. Also, you're going to be losing a ton of NPC traffic on like sidewalks and stuff because the CPU in that is not going to be able to.
Yeah, and I will say the NPC density is something I really missed on the PS5. It wasn't bad. It's not super noticeable, but in a city that's supposed to be kind of like what San Diego or somewhere, Southern California, I don't remember exactly where, it definitely loses just kind of some of its like, I don't know if intimacy is the right word, but it just kind of takes you out of the experience. Yeah. It doesn't feel as alive, especially in a city that's like that grungy and neon future. You need those people.
I never paid attention to, how well I haven't played it a ton on the Steam Deck, honestly, because I bought it on sale for $20 or whatever. It's the only game that I've bought 3 friggin' times. I bought it on sale when it went on sale on Xbox, so I could play it on the Series S, because I bought it physically on the Series X when it came out. So it was like, well, now I can't play it. And then I get a Steam Deck, and it's like, well, I'd really like to play it on that so I can play it more on the go. So I bought it on Steam Deck again. So I ended up buying that game 3 times. It's like,
I really was like fighting with myself if I was going to buy it on the PS5, because I was like, I already have the PC version. It's so great. And I knew that Michelle wanted to play it, but then there was like all this weirdness around it. Can I actually transfer my save over? Like, I didn't know if she was going to stick with it. She ended up loving it too. And she got the platinum like a couple days ago. So she fell in love with it too.
Yeah. That's cool.
It was worth it. It was worth my 2 purchases. Between the two, I only paid $40 for the game. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I paid $60 for it new, and then I paid $40, 2 more times, or $20 2 more times. So it's still, I'm under $100.
We definitely got the money's worth out of it. Yeah.
So. Eric, what have you been playing?
The Last Guy. Okay, let's see.
That's a great game. Throwback to the PS3.
So we finished. My buddy and I have been playing co-op or like multiplayer co-op like a couple times a month. So we finished Sniper Elite 5. So we tried to try Zombie Army 4 crossplay between him on Xbox, me on PC. We both have it on Game Pass. All sorts of problems. I couldn't get it to work. He tried inviting me. I tried inviting him. You had to send like an invite code. Tried that. Just nothing. So I convinced him to play Back 4 Blood instead. He did pretty good. He's not played much Left 4 Dead, but it's fine as long as you have one other human player. The AI they're good enough.
Yeah,
they're gonna shoot stuff. They can't carry crap.
Yeah, they do dumb stuff, but
I'm like, but they're good enough. Like, you can have them do their thing, and they're okay. So we played that for a couple hours, and he liked it. Man, I got that on Game Pass, but I bought it last year when it was on sale at Best Buy for $10 for PS5 with Steelbook. I like a good Steelbook.
Yeah,
but I've enjoyed my time with it. I wouldn't go ham and buy the Pass, but it's something for us to play. We got a long list of co-op stuff for play. I'm trying to get him to play some Streets of Rage 4, some Turtles, Teenage Mutant Turtles, because easy casual stuff.
right.
Let's see. I played some Dante's Inferno. I have no idea why. I was looking for a Halloween game around Halloween, and I played this. Actually, the funny thing about Dante's Inferno, this was the second game I reviewed way back in the day. And actually, I think it was the time I put in a request for something else, but they mixed up, so I got Dante's Inferno. It's fine. It's good. I never beat it on PS3. I think I got like a third of the way through. It's still good. It's God of War clone. Sorry.
I remember playing the demo for it.
That's good.
Back then, and it was pretty good. It had a really deep leveling system from what I remember.
Yeah. Lots of different skill trees and stuff. You can focus on both areas. Got kind of stuck on boss though, so we'll see. Go back. It's kind of, but we'll go back. I'll probably play some more, but I liked it. Played some more of the Sega Genesis collection. I was actually gonna buy this, but it's on Game Pass. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it now. It's okay. I own about half these games, and I have the rest on the EverDrive. So I'm like, it's nice to have it there. And it's a good collection. The games are fun, but I don't know. I have other ways to play it. If it was $20, I can looking for some sort of little retro fix. Some art. I finally played Deathloop. I have it on PS5, but it was on Series S and on Game Pass. I was like, why don't I play it? So I did.
Yeah.
It's all right. First impressions. It's like Dishonored, of course. It's interesting. I don't like the combat. The gunplay feels like really odd to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me playing with the controller, but it doesn't feel as tight as it needs to be. I tried adjusting like the controls and stuff and a few other things. But I could turn on the have some fun. You can turn on like one shot kill and things like that. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm probably like 5-6 hours in it, and I'm having a good time. Kind of like the abilities and the night and day cycle. It's kind of interesting story. It's got its hook. So I will definitely finish that. Yes, and finally, for review, and I'm behind on this one. I've been playing Gunfire Reborn. So it is a looter shooter. So think of Borderlands with roguelike. That part of it sucks. There's plenty of loot, which is good. Plenty of fun little things to upgrade your weapon and stuff. But once you die, back to the beginning.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks. There's not really. I was hoping there'd be some sort of interesting respawn. Maybe I get to respawn at the beginning of the world, but instead, nope, back to the beginning. But it is interesting. It reminds me a lot of the art style for Immortal Redneck, kind of like cell shaded, cute thing. But it's fun. There's different characters and lots of different guns, and it does not have the. But my biggest complaint, besides obviously it's is that the dodge mechanics aren't that great. The jump is kind of slow, and there's like a backwards dash you can do that's on a timer, a cooldown. So you can do it once, and then you gotta wait, and that gets kind of hairy sometimes with big boss fights or room for the guy. So I have tried the multiplayer and tried matchmaking 4 times, but I cannot find it. I was hoping to get some multiplayer in, but we'll get something written up for it soon. But if you like looter shooters and you got a co-op buddy to play with, it should scratch that itch. I mean, plus I think it could be a lot of fun with some of the bigger fights like that.
Yeah, it looked nice. I was interested in it, but the moment I saw the word rogue, I was like, nope.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's usually
And
what turns me off
as
right
my
away.
experience of
So,
roguelikes, Dead Cells, Salt and Sanctuary, this is definitely. Oh yeah, and it made me nauseous too. The head bob with the guns. I was like, ooh,
Oh, I always turn that off.
you can't. And so in
Oh, no.
Deathloop, I turned it way down. I'm good. But in this, like, you're bobbing constant.
See, I can't do the constant bobbing.
Like, I can't
No.
do the bob. Damn it! No, it's interesting. Yeah, the roguelike thing is kind of interesting twist to it. We'll see. I managed to get up to the third world. That's pretty good for somebody who's not great at these games. So, and I unlocked 2 other characters. So that's been kind of interesting. And like I said, there's fun kind of weapons and stuff. And one of the characters you can dual wield weapons. That comes in handy. Where the first character is more based on like dodging and moving fast, but the other guy is more like a tank, dual wield stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna grab 2 big guns and just go to town and destroy everything. It's been pretty good. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. Nothing too exciting. Just working. You want me to talk about Portland Retro Gaming Expo?
Yeah, go ahead. That's what I was going to say. If you want to go ahead while you're talking, go for it.
I'll make it quick. So I went to Portland Retro Gaming Expo a couple weeks ago. They haven't had it in 3 years. So it's down in Portland, Oregon. It's the biggest retro con in the U.S. Okay, not the biggest, one of the biggest. I mean, it occupies the Oregon Convention Center, which is massive. Yeah. And it is. There has to be like 30 pinball machines and probably triple the amount of arcade machines for free play.
Which one is the biggest then? If they're not, I always assumed they were.
I think it is. I think so. I think Midwest Gaming Classic is probably second.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Midwest.
There's one in California that's pretty deep sized too, but most of those are still in like a hotel, and this one's takes up a massive, huge convention center that's designed. It's giant. Let's see. What did I see? What was interesting? Yeah, they just. Let's talk. Yeah, so besides all the free play stuff, they had they had some cool panels. They had a panel from the Retronauts guys talking about the history of Sega. They had a big Sega Saturn exhibit, which had pretty much a North American set, lots of free PlayStation, which I wasn't really interested in that. But they had this thing that caught my eye. It's something I never even heard of. It was a Saturn made. It was a karaoke machine that also was played Saturn games.
Yep, I've seen that.
3 feet tall, and the guy bought it from Japan.
Yeah,
I can send a picture later.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen that. It's
I talked to him about
they're crazy about the karaoke over there. So
I was like karaoke, Laserdisc, and then Saturn at the bottom. So it was neat. That exhibit was pretty cool. They had the last Blockbuster had a big exhibit there because the last Blockbuster's in Bend, Oregon, Central. So they had a big. You could go there and it was like walking into a Blockbuster.
I'd love to go 90s. There.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They had swag for sale and stuff.
How busy are they?
The last Blockbuster. They have a documentary on Netflix. My buddy went
there. I saw the documentary.
My buddy went there a couple of years ago. He said it was decent. You can still go there and rent stuff, and there's still a steady crowd going in and out.
I wonder how much of them are tourists.
Yeah,
probably plenty. There used to be one in Alaska too, but that one closed.
Yeah, I remember that one. I was going to say there was that one in Alaska.
There was a Tetris World Championship there. That's always a big draw. The Northwest, Pacific Northwest, has a big Atari scene. So there's lots of like homebrew Atari stuff. Pat the NES Punk was there. They had the guy that does from NBA Jam and Mortal Kombat. He was there. He was signing stuff. He's pretty nice to talk to. I forget Tim. I forget his last name. Tim Burton.
Tim Burton.
There was the guys from Diablo there. 3 of the creators of Diablo 2, 3, and one of them worked on StarCraft. They had a big panel. They were signing stuff for free, so I got my.
And he disappears. Now he's back.
So this
like
camera. So this is.
Oh, there we go. I was going to say I can't see it with the background.
It's got a couple signatures on it.
That's
so
cool.
It was nice. They were very happy to talk about their game, and I told them how much it meant to me and how much I played back in the day. It was nice to talk to them. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, they had a lot of stuff. I'm not going to talk very much about the prices, but they were like what
prices have gotten just.
It's been 3 years.
So outrageous.
This way. You don't want to be a Sega Saturn collector.
No, and I'm glad I've got my little section of Sega Saturn games that
There were some vendors there that had like booths in the corner where things were significantly cheaper. Where I saw like a GameCube with all the hookups for 60. Saw a Genesis Model 2 and 1 hookups for 40. But most average prices, you're looking at 100 to 150 for N64 console, Saturn 200, GameCube around 100, Dreamcast 100 to 100.
See, that's crazy. You used to be able to buy GameCubes for $25 pop.
Uh-huh.
And that was just a couple of years ago. I mean, literally a couple of years ago.
The vendors that had modded consoles, those are doing some good business. Especially there's a guy from Portland. A guy from Portland does all the mods for Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. My buddy sent me money and said, "Go get me a Game Boy Color and get one with the backlight." And, USB-C and the speaker mod. I'm like, okay, here's $150.
Yeah, here's the one I made myself.
Yeah, you can get the solderless kit.
Yeah, see, and I soldered this one together, made this myself for $40 4 years ago. Now I could sell this thing for like $200. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
There's a reason why I have not bought. You know what the last retro game stuff I bought was the stuff that you sent me, Eric. That. Oh, the Master System
Genesis.
stuff. The Genesis, okay. The Master System
Genesis,
stuff. And it's still sitting over there in the box, not been cleaned. Because I just haven't, it's like, I haven't even looked. I stopped looking. Prices just got too crazy. It's like, I kind of took myself out of the retro collecting game.
I did buy one thing I bought one thing for myself. This is, I usually go with a list. I have a pretty big list of stuff I'm looking for. 90% of it is manuals and cases. And sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes there'll be a guy with a bin of manuals will dig through and be like, "Oh, cool, this one I need for Dreamcast. Right. I'll buy it." I always have a list of PC stuff, but finding PC manual half box possible. I bought a copy of Streets of Rage 2 for $35, complete with manual. That is plenty reasonable considering it. The guy was happy. He didn't want to take it home. It was Sunday. He's like, "Yeah, make me cash offer." Yeah, cash is king in that sort.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to lug it home.
I do have one interesting story. A couple of my buddies there, they have booths they sell. I took my Samus, new 3DS Samus that I had gotten a couple years ago in a lot, and I wanted to trade it for another new 3DS, a regular one, like a red or a black one, and get cash on top of it. My buddy's like, just put it in the case. We'll ask a reason. I'm like, okay, reasonable. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he asks $350. No, he put $500 on it. I turned away to talk to my buddy, and he sold it within a minute.
Wow,
like 5 minutes.
That's crazy.
So, and he's like, after his cut and taxes. Ooh, wow, impressive. But I saw, I can say that's crazy. But I saw stuff where new 3DS's boxes, like special ones, are going for $600 to $700.
How much are the Monster Hunter ones going for? That's the one I got.
I bet you could get $500.
Are you serious? It's setting up on my nightstand with this much dust on it. Literally, it just sits by my bed at night.
That just makes it more vintage,
I guess.
Yeah. I just never saw myself playing the special
ridiculous.
Edition. I'm happy with just the regular one.
Well, I didn't
in a case.
I didn't have a 3DX XL. I had the original 3DS, which was small. So when the XLs came, when they brought the XLs out, the new XLs, I wanted the Mario one, not the Mario one, the Zelda one, and every time that I tried to run to GameStop to pre-order it, it kept selling out. But the Monster Hunter one was still available, so I got the Monster Hunter one instead, which was the silver, which I'm really glad I did. It was really sharp.
That was a good looking system.
Yeah, it ended up being a really good looking. It was like, after I saw the Zelda one, I was like, I'm kind of glad I went with the Monster Hunter one. And I imported a silicone.
That Zelda one real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I imported a silicone clear case to put on. As soon as it came in, I put it in. Fingers have never touched that thing. It's always been in that plastic case, and it's like, but $500, good.
Yeah, it was insane, and I just like some of the price and stuff. Like any of the, I'll send pictures later, but like any of the high end Saturn stuff, like Magic Knight Wraith. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was asking like $1,600 for it, cash. Somebody bought it while I was standing looking at like in a box.
It's stupid. No, it's stupid. I mean, you know, it's like I always say, you know, I've got Panzer Dragoon Saga. You know, I've got to complete. $1,200 is what it goes for. Will I ever sell it? No, because I will never buy that game again because I will not spend $1,200 to get a game. I just won't. I won't do it.
There were some boosts for stuff. There were some guys, like I said, it was reasonable, and lots of people. Yeah, so
I mean,
I just wouldn't go there to buy like the expensive stuff you're looking for because it's just never gonna find it. Honestly, it's stupid bad.
I mean,
but I had a good time.
Yeah, well, and that's all that matters. But you know, it's like I literally sold a copy of Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger on eBay the other day for $250. I paid $70 for it 2 years ago and sold it for $250. It didn't even last like 20 minutes. It was like boom, gone. It was like, what the frick? You know, it's
insane.
Should have charged more.
Well, that was high. That was one of the highest ones on eBay. You know, it was like.
That's what my buddy said about the Samus 3DS. He's like, you know, we probably could have asked 600. I was like, 600?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, I mean, I'm happy with what I got. I was like, you know, that takes care of, you know, that money I spent buy the modded Saturn earlier this year. Which is, if you're into Sega Saturn collecting, either get one with a stack of burned games or get a modded one and save your.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't. It was. Yeah, there was some other interesting stuff. Oh, there was a guy there that had done like the art on Mortal Kombat, some of the posters and stuff. I had seen him before at convention. He definitely wasn't as popular as. But yeah, it was a good time. Got to go with my buddy, poke around, look at stuff. I'm glad the convention happened again.
Holy crap!
I just kind of wish that, like, maybe looking back to 2019, there was a couple of things that were on my list.
Right? Yeah, before everything exploded.
Too much. I'm not paying $50 for that.
Yeah,
it's like 150.
I'm just looking up here. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate DSL or 3DS XL new complete inbox used $400. $400. What the frick?
How much was that? What was retail for those things? Weren't they like 300, 350 for special?
No, not those three. Two at the most.
49 at most, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's 250.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But I mean, you're talking used complete in box. This is used and it's $400. Yeah. Not brand new. It's used. Here's one without the box, $320. It's like
I think I flipped the Zelda one for $350, and that's why I'm thinking it.
Jeez, I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts.
They hold their value, and it's insane.
Yeah, it's insane.
Well, now you just don't know. Now it's stupid games that you never would have thought would be worth anything are worth something, and it doesn't make any sense.
Let me tell you something. I promise you, because I've been thinking about this for a while, and it's still not the case. But later down the line, just because of how bad it was perceived, or received rather, and because they cut like copies immediately, Balan Wonderworld, I promise you, will be worth a decent amount later down the line. I promise you.
There's some. I'll drop some photos in the chat. You can see this coming. Some of the Saturn stuff, and you can see some of the price on the console. Some price on the 6-pin.
What's that Pikachu? What was that Pikachu one? I had that one. $600. Get out of here.
I think that's a new a 2DS, and I want to say that might be a Japanese only one if I remember.
I had that.
No, that was a US one. I remember that.
I remember.
That's a 3DS XL.
Yeah, that's a 3DS XL. It came out in the US. I remember that. I do remember seeing that. And look at that.
I camped out in front of Toys R Us for that thing.
I mean, look at that Panzer Dragoon Saga. Look at that, $1,200. It's like what? What?
That's insane.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And
I couldn't believe it.
I don't know.
And I took some stuff to trade too. Like I have a couple extra Dreamcast games without the cases. Some high end stuff. I got not high end. In demand. I got Power Stone 1 and 2, no case, right? I couldn't get anybody to bite for a good offer, and I tried. I was willing. There's a couple other things I looked at, but nobody. Oh, I don't want them. No manual, no case.
Well,
still, what giving you for like next to nothing? Well, not nothing, but it would have been reasonable.
What blows my mind is the money that people will pay on Saturn games and Dreamcast games, and I guarantee you I guarantee you in the next 10 years, those things are going to start degrading like nobody's business. Because I've already seen it. I've already seen it. I mean, I've seen the disc rot in games. I own some that have just terrible disc rot, and they've been stored properly. And they just do. If they get a hairline crack in them, they get a hairline crack in that disc somewhere, it is going to turn into disc rot. It just will.
Ooh, one of you is a big Metal Gear Solid fan. Robert, that's you.
That'd be Robert.
That'd be me.
I'll drop a couple pictures in the chat. There's a guy who had a booth full of Metal Gear Solid stuff. He had like a boxed copy of the Game Boy Color game and a loose one, and those went like that. He said.
Did he have the document of Metal Gear Solid 2?
He might have. I'll drop some in the chat. But it was pretty crazy. Just the random stuff people had, and like I said, it was a pretty good experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's always cool. To me, it's always cool to go to those things and look, but there ain't no way I'm buying.
Yeah,
no way I'm buying.
How big is your wallet?
And the people that do, I mean, God bless you, I guess. I mean, I just, I've checked out of that game. I've just checked out of that game. It's just, unless something just falls into my lap, I have checked out of that game. It's just.
I stopped playing that game 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, for me, everybody's, everybody knows that things are worth now. So
yeah,
I mean, it's not like I can drop everything and go get something 10 minutes away because there's somebody who's 5 minutes away and faster.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's gotten to be who knew that the pandemic would cause that. But all right, real quick, just touching on a couple of news stories. PlayStation Plus loses 2 million subs, but revenue is up. I think I know what happened. This is that time where they transition from PlayStation Plus to the PlayStation Extra Large. They sent emails out like nobody's business, and those 2 million people that they lost were probably people that didn't even realize they were still paying for PlayStation Plus.
Or people like me who said, "This is stupid. I'm just letting mine run out."
Or they went, "Oh, I'm still paying for PlayStation Plus. You want me to upgrade to the new one? Oh, let me check that card. Oh my gosh, I've been paying for that for 6 years and didn't realize it. Let me cancel that." Yeah,
I don't use my PlayStation Plus. Why am I paying for it?
Yeah,
I'm still paying for it. It's been years. It auto renews.
I mean, it just auto renews. So yeah, I think that's what it is. But I mean, revenue's up, so that tells me that a lot of people, they lost 2 million. Big deal. A lot of people jumped from that regular PlayStation Plus to the
they got enough people to get the more expensive ones, so they kind of like evened it out.
So it evened it out for them. So what's going to be interesting is to see the next.
They ain't gonna stay there if they don't start doing better.
Right? Yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see the next quarter of that and see how it goes. I want to see the next quarter of Game Pass. I want to see that because it's it's going to be interesting.
We need to see if it's a trend or if it's just the one-off.
Yeah, it's just a blip on the everybody jumped real quick and then see where they went back.
Hey, it's a new thing. I'm gonna try it out, and then I'm bored of this new thing. I'm gonna stop trying it out.
I'm gonna cancel it. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. PlayStation VR 2 headset was priced
and
dated. So February 22nd of 2023. The base one is $449. That comes with the headset and the controllers, or you can pay $50 more.
$549
or $549. What did I say? Did I say
$449?
Oh, I meant $549. Sorry. Yeah, if it was $449, it'd be better. Or you can get the Call of the Mountain bundle for $599. So it just comes with $50 more for the game.
Too expensive for what it's starting at.
It's
more stuff on it.
It's
cool.
No,
it's awesome,
it's not.
But it's too cutting edge for them to price it where enough people would be interested.
Yeah,
in it.
Well, I mean, you got to remember the attachment rate of the first PlayStation VR was like it ended up being like around 8 to 10%, somewhere around in there. So, I mean, it was enough for them to say, "Let's do this." Here's my problem with it. $550 is a lot. I'm not going to say that the technology is not worth it. I mean, because it is, because it's 4K, it's got the tracking.
Yeah. I feel it's out of necessity, right?
Yeah. Here is my issue with it. You're asking me to pay $550 for a VR headset that has to be connected to a PlayStation console.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when the PlayStation 6 comes out Am I going to move forward? It's not like VR on a PC. I know a lot of people go, well, the Valve is $1,000. Yes, but the PC, you could still play old games on that. Now you're starting over from scratch with a new one because it's not backwards compatible. I get why it's not backwards compatible. I understand that. But at the same time, you're not going to make something that's going to... You're asking me to buy into an ecosystem with a console and that. It's not like the Meta Quest. Everybody's like, well, the Quest is this, it's $400. You got to look at the Quest as it's a console because it's not a accessory that I connect to a PC or I connect to an Xbox. It is a console. It's all in one. Where this is not. I don't know. It's at that price. It's hard for me to buy into it because I
would be more interested in paying that price, or more likely to say it might be worth it if it were Xbox, because of the way that they've treated their ecosystem for all their like games and things. Just normally, like, hey, I can still play some 360 games or whatever that are on my account.
That's true.
On my new Xbox. Yeah. So I'd more trust that they would still let have that ecosystem moving forward over consoles, versus like Sony's like, no, we're just going to start over with every box to this point for the most part for pretty much everything. It's kind of like, like it's only going to have a certain shelf life.
And I think, exactly, a certain shelf life. That was the word I was trying to think of, And Microsoft has proven, especially with the One and this, that backwards compatibility makes money. People want backwards compatibility.
I think for me, like the biggest hiccup is they put all their money into fidelity, which I'm all for, and I feel like it is going to be a much better experience than it was on their first PSVR. But I think the single thing that would have really took the gameplay forward is making it wireless. And I know you can't have all these things and have it be wireless and have it be less than $550, but the gameplay experiences you're going to get out of a wireless VR headset is far less limiting than needing to be attached.
That's what my favorite thing is with the Quest is I don't have a cable. It is, it's not the most fidelity and all this. It's great though. It's so freeing to be able to walk around a freaking whole room if I want.
When VR is about being in this living, breathing world, and you have a tether. I can't experience that world as I would the real world, right? I have to use whatever controller input they're giving you to turn around and do all these things. Whereas if it's wireless, you experience that world how you want.
All right.
You can blame VR technology for that, because the reason you can have it with the Quest is because it's all built in.
Right.
It's all in there. Console. You're not having to communicate out. So having to communicate to your PlayStation 5 console, doing that wirelessly would introduce all sorts of weird lag issues.
Absolutely.
And desync would just be crazy. They haven't solved it anywhere yet, which is why you don't see like wireless things on PC or anything yet either. It's kind of like no one's figured it out.
Yeah, but that's the thing with the PlayStation VR is you're asking me to commit to that ecosystem and not branch out of it. Even with my Quest, I can take it, get a USB-C cable, plug it up to the PC, install the drivers, and I can play Half-Life Alyx through Steam with my Quest 2. Yeah, sure, it's not the most got the best fidelity that the PlayStation would give it, but I'm not stuck with that, and that's but as much as I would like to see that backwards compatible, I understand why it's not backwards compatible because the technology is different. But the thing is I know what's going to happen is you're going to have companies that are going to say, well, here's this game that you bought on PlayStation 4 VR. We're going to upgrade it to PlayStation 5. And you're going to have to rebuy it. I guarantee it. There's not going to be anybody that's going to say, "Here, let's upgrade it for free."
If I had a guarantee of any forward thinking, it would be I'd be a lot less hesitant.
Yeah.
As somebody, and I buy everything PlayStation. Like I'm not going to be fronting about it. Like I've bought it all. I had the Move controllers. I invested in it because I support Sony's vision of weird stuff. I don't know, but I'm not getting that vibe. out of this one.
No,
So,
I'm not either.
unfortunately, this is like the first time I'm not going to get it at launch, and I got the PSVR at launch.
Yeah, I know, and I
was
own
a
it
believer
now.
in VR. I am a believer in VR. I'm just not a
Well, that's
believer.
another thing about this.
$550 VR.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing that's kind of they're gonna have a hurdle to jump is you don't have the VR fad anymore with it. Like it still exists and there's still stuff going on, but it's not as front and center as it was when PSVR came out.
Right. Yeah, you're not going into this thing being like, this is the future. Well, the future is now 5 years ago. We know what your future was.
Right.
So going into this, yes, you're showing me a prettier version of that, but that's still, it's not a new thing.
Well, and I still
quantity at this point.
People
so you
still
have to
can't
market this thing differently.
Right, and people still can't walk in a store and buy a PlayStation 5. So you're wanting them to pay $500 for a PlayStation 5 and $550 for a VR headset if you can't find the system.
You know, to be fair, that's today. That's right now. That's where we are in the world. But who knows in February? Maybe they do have a plan for that. Maybe they really believe they're going to have these things available.
Knock on wood.
They can get it. But at the same time, as a new PS5 owner, are you going to drop over $1,000? No.
It's very niche.
Not when me, who's had a PS5 for 2 years, and I'm not going to drop another $550. We know these guys are going to be coming out with whatever a pro version or their second SKU of these consoles are going to be soon. So that's just more money.
Maybe they're not. I don't know. Who knows at this point?
I don't need one. No. If you're listening, Sony, I don't need one. I don't want one.
Well,
leave it alone.
You know, I mean, who knows if they're even going to do, you know, the pro versions of these two consoles. I mean, Sony's already raised theirs PlayStation 5s in other countries because, you know, it's more expensive to make. Are they really going to, you know, are we looking at a $600 pro version coming out in the next year and a half? I mean, I don't know. Consoles are in a weird place right now as far as even just getting them. You know, I've seen 2 times I've seen Series X's in stores twice since they've launched, and that was just in the past couple of weeks.
PS5s are available. You can get them right now on Sony Direct. You just have to get the bundle.
Right. Well, let's see. I know.
Well, a lot of stores haven't put them on shelves because they were doing online orders only.
Right.
They have them in the back, but they wouldn't have them out on the actual store shelves.
Let's see. I'm just curious. I know they had the Modern Warfare. Yep. See, there's the Modern Warfare bundle right now. Well.
So, I mean, if you want one, you can get one now with minimal effort. It's just not in the same place that things were when the last console launched, plus 2 years.
Oh, there it is. I was going to say, no, they can't get the system sold out right now. You can buy the controllers, but you can't buy the system.
I mean, honestly, with both of these consoles, it almost seems like now we're just past launch because of the pandemic stretching things out and like games being slowed down and delayed. It's just they've been out for a long time. If you've had one, you could have. If you happened to get one at launch, you've had it for a long time. But still feels like we're in the early part of these things. Even though we've
had them for a long time, but there's no native current gen games.
Well, that's just
Everything
it. I mean,
it's still up-resed last gen.
I mean, you know, even Ragnarok is it's still a PlayStation 4 game. You know,
they're like, oh, okay, we'll give you 6 performance modes because we have extra power and we didn't optimize for the new system. Like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, literally, they came out and said they did not optimize it for the PlayStation 5. It's like, holy crap. You know, here we are 2 years in, and that's why
I can get away with it on that one though, because it's still using the first game as a basis.
Well,
it's really good.
Nothing against the game.
Oh no. But what I'm
of the generation.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying I just don't know if we're even going to have an updated system, you know, this generation, because they have yet to even fully get out of these systems, you know, the Series X and the PS5, what they could get out of them, and then people are already going, well, you know, we're getting 2 years in, it's time for a pro version. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is going to be a
don't fight for the pros.
Yeah,
when you can count on like one hand the amount of games that are like just that console exclusive version where it wasn't cross-gen.
Yeah.
Not time for a pro yet.
No.
Right.
And one of them's Gotham Knights is only on the next-gen systems, and that is not a next-gen game.
That's just because that game was made poorly, and they canceled the old ones because they couldn't get it to work on those consoles. It wasn't because they started
right.
that way.
Oh yeah, I know. I absolutely know that, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, you can't even say, oh, that's a gen exclusive. No, it's not. It's they just
Also,
canceled the other one before.
When your new Batman, universe game looks worse than the previous one on the previous console, maybe you didn't make that game well.
Yeah. I don't
Just
know.
saying.
Game development's hard. I understand.
I do. Yeah, but I get that.
And it just makes you, when you see like Batman Arkham Knight side by side with Gotham Knights, you're just like, what did you do, guys? Why? You took all of the atmosphere and style out of it and made this, and it still doesn't run well. Like, what?
Some credit, it is co-op, right? So they have to have all that infrastructure and AI for all those different characters. But
I mean, we still have faith in Suicide Squad, so there's that.
Yeah. And I'm still going to buy it.
I'll just go back and replay Ratchet and Clank again if I want to see something super shiny.
I'm still gonna buy Gotham Knights. I'm just not gonna pay $70 for it. I'm just not gonna do it.
Yeah, maybe 10, maybe 20.
Oh no, I'll pay more. I'll pay more than that for it. I'll pay $30, $40 for it.
From what I've heard on the game, that's not. It's gonna have to be real low before I buy it.
If I buy it, I'm not buying it on console. I'm buying it on PC. So
yeah, there you go.
Because it runs better on PC.
Kind of
better?
But even the PC
quotes better.
Even the PC version has a whole bunch of issues with it. Barely. So give it time for them to like patch a bunch of stuff, and then buy it for cheaper, and then that's when you get the best version.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So if Cyberpunk has taught us anything,
not just that, just like literally any game in the past decade, almost any big AAA game.
Yep, exactly. So, all right. Has anybody got anything else before we call this the evening? Which I know it's like still afternoon over there for you, Robert. So
look, it's dark now.
Woohoo!
Is it? Is it really? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
We are 2 minutes from official sunset here.
Okay. Well, see, the sunset here hadn't. Oh no, it's at sunrise. Never mind. It's been like 8 o'clock in the morning before the sun comes up here. But it's daylight savings time, so we all get an extra hour sleep tonight.
Hey, and we're only 5 hours apart now.
No, I get the same amount of sleep and then wake up and be like, oh, why does the clock say that number? That's what.
Not me. I wake up and go, oh, really? Okay, I'm going back to sleep for another.
I would try and it wouldn't work. So.
Well, that's melatonin will do that to you. So when you wake up in the morning. So. But yeah. So okay. Next opportunity for a show would be around the 19th. I will say that I may be here. That's actually the week we will be in Disney. We'll be coming home that Friday.
I might be around. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Like I always say, just follow us on Twitter at GL_podcast. And I try to tweet out a couple hours before we go live. Because we'll see how I'm feeling Friday when I get home. From a 14-hour drive there, 4 days at Disney, 3 days, 4 nights, and then a 14-hour drive back home. And when we get home, we pick up our new puppy. So,
I'm gonna guess you're gonna be tired.
Yeah, I'm gonna be tired too.
Even if it was just the puppy, you might be tired from that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm sure we will, because she'll be 8 weeks old when we pick her up. So, yeah, so she's going to be a very small puppy. So nothing better than coming home from vacation and picking up a puppy. Luckily, the wife's off all week, so she'll be the one to have to put up with her. I will not. So till Thanksgiving Day. So, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. Tentatively, I'll say we'll probably have a show, but we'll see. So, but follow us at GL_podcast. That way, you'll know when we go live if you want to come hang out with us. And like I say, if you don't, you'll get it in your podcatcher whenever I decide to upload it, which is usually the next day. Unless I forget the way things have been going here lately. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out and listening to us. And we will catch you all next time.